No, anyways, coming back to Toyota, share a little bit of story before we jump into other things. Share a little bit of story when it comes to Toyota in Nepal. I remember last time we touched base on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been here for the last 57 years. Started by my grandfather. It's a very interesting origin story, and I still try to imagine it. I feel like it could be made into a movie sometimes, just because how crazy it is. So he used to do a lot of. So he started off, working around, and he always had an affiliation with politics and everything. I think he got into politics, and through that, basically, he got opportunities to get educated and everything. So once he started getting educated and everything, he also started doing business abroad. And he worked at the USA, if I'm not wrong, for a bit as a guide. He used to take people up to the Everest region and everything. My dad tells me stories about how he used to walk from east to west of Nepal, taking these missions to these very remote areas around the country. And then is when he started doing some business abroad. And I think there was one person in Calcutta who actually gave him the recommendation saying, hey, there's Hong Kong, you should go to Hong Kong and start doing trade. And that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And on one of his voyages, basically, he met someone. And again, the story is told over and over again, and this is the version that I've gotten, and it's super interesting. Basically, he put everything on the line, and he met someone on his journey. Put everything on the line, told my grandmom, just pretend we're rich.
Just pretend we're rich.
So with the money that they were actually going to buy goods in Hong Kong, he actually bought her an expensive gift to kind of show off to this person in Toyota to be like, okay, we have wealth, we can take your brand to Nepal. And in 1967, he actually went to Nagoya, spent some time there. They didn't really know who he was, know what Nepal was at all. And somehow, I really don't know how, but he convinced them to be like, okay, just give me 6 to 8 cars for the year and I'll try to, do what I can with that. Tiopachitai, in the year and a half following, is he did over 200 sales or 150 sales in
200 cars in 1 year.
Yeah. And that was how basically Toyota started in Nepal. Since then,
Suryansh, first car that Toyota got in Nepal, Yatsa Nam?
So that tells me that initially the first order was actually for the coronation of the king, where there was a bunch of Land Cruisers brought. That was only for the royal family only. Tiopachi said the first model that came in for the people was actually the Corona 1969, which surprisingly we somehow got back from the original owner, and we have it at the office right now. So it's a 1969 Toyota Corona. It was one of the models that saved and kind of grew the Toyota name in the US.
Yo gadi hain ta?
Yes, we have this exact model in our office actually.
This is the car that was running in the streets of Kathmandu, 1969, man.
We have the full receipt and everything. We know everything about the owner. It's an amazing story how it somehow came back to us as well.
Yo gadi.
Ather.
69. Damn. And we barely had roads, I'm sure, at that time. We had a fancy looking nice car. This looks really nice. Restore got the has a
Yes. So that was my first restoration project, actually. I didn't do such a good job, but it's good enough, I think.
Okay, so what's the specs on the car?
To be honest, I'm not
100%
sure what the engine size is. It's a full carburetor engine. Everything is just machine and man. There's no technology. It's phenomenal. And the reason that this car became really big in the United States is, I think when this car launched is when the gas crisis hit the US, when the oil prices went up rapidly. That's when the US kind of transitioned from their gas-guzzling muscle cars to Toyota and Japanese cars, which is a little bit more
economically viable.
Yes, exactly. So that's the story of this car, and I think it has a really nice connection with how it saved Toyota in the West, and also this was the first car that we started importing here as well.
Wow, such a fantastic story. I'd love to see this car. Probably drive it if it runs.
It runs. It runs.
It runs.
It's such a fun car to drive.
Please of course. We should drive a 69 Toyota. That's going to be awesome to go ahead and drive it. Wow. So 200 वटा गाडी हैन त
हजुर
पहिला चाहिँ हजुरबुवाले कति 7-8 वटा माग्नुभयो अनि त्यसपछि gradually we ended up selling 200 cars.
Something in that ballpark. Not
Along
exact
that,
on the
right?
numbers.
Along
but
that, right?
something
Along that, right? How many cars are we selling today? Not just BYD, but overall, Nepal, एक वर्षमा, give or take.
Give or take, Nepal is the market of around 10 to 12,000 passenger vehicle.
Right.
And then there are around 2,000 to 2,500 this public vehicles, including microvans, buses, trucks, good carriers are there.
So, आजको दिनमा तानतुन गरेर 15,000 चान्चुन भनौँ न हैन
It's total four-wheeler industry.
Four-wheeler industry is 15,000 plus, coming from 200 back in the 200 give or
200
take.
from one brand.
From one brand. But give or take. को थियो अरु त्यतिखेर Toyota थियो? Any stories that you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I know there was a lot of independent importers who used to bring everything. I think looking back on the good old days, I guess, and I never got to experience it, but you got to see like Plymouths, all the American muscle cars also here.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few independent importers at that time.
Yeah, when I think about it, but I don't think we would sell more than like भनौँ न estimate 69 मा 500 वटा गाडी पनि बिग्दैन थियो होला हैन
I doubt it.
हैन त्यति पनि थिएन होला most
त्यति त रोडै थिएन त्यस्तो त
त्यही मात्रै भन्दैछु किन के पनि थिएन होला see somebody shared that pull out that picture if possible. Rolls-Royce which was gifted by Queen Elizabeth to King Mahendra. The
Silver Cloud.
Beautiful.
Still on
vehicle.
display, I think.
And it's in good condition. Yeah.
कस्तो राम्रो लागेको थियो कि मलाई somebody had shared an Instagram reel on it हैन अनि म यसो हेर्दै थिएँ I'm like wow. अनि त्यो one and only जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई नेपालमा फेरि I don't think we have
should be
Rolls-Royce छ र हाम्रोमा अरु
I don't think so. In the palace, if you go, then you can see like a couple of Jaguars and stuff. I don't know if there's any more Rolls-Royces.
Who owns Rolls-Royce again? Who owns it? Is there a subsidiary company? There's a man, I completely forgot about this, but there's a, if I'm not mistaken, it's
definitely owned by someone. I'm forgetting if it's Stellantis or... It's not Volkswagen. Volkswagen is Bentley.
No, it's not Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Bunch of guys. Yeah, this is the one, no?
That's the one, yes.
I wish it still runs. Or even starts.
It must have a huge engine.
This looks amazing. All right, story behind BYD. Let's go for it. In Nepal.
Story behind BYD in Nepal. Actually, it's not like old as he said, 57 years. So we started in 2011. At the time, there was a market need for the solars and battery energy storage system. So there were other companies in this venture as well. And then we had a conversation with BYD saying that there is this need solar battery energy storage system. And the interesting fact is BYD is not only just about automotive. So they have four main industries, like they said. Number one is electronics. They are the OEM, original equipment manufacturer, original design manufacturer for many mobile companies. I don't know if that data holds true now or not. But then back 1 year ago, 1 out of 7 mobile phone batteries were made by BYD, actually. So that is one sector. Electronics is one sector. Then second is on the renewable energies, like we started with. It was solar and the battery storage system. So at the time there was a need in the market. And the third industry of BYD is automotive industry, which is most popular. And the fourth is the rail transit. They make a sky shuttle bus.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
They make the monorail sky shuttle bus. So we started 2011 with the solar and the battery storage system. And then it was like, fluctuating business. It was not त्यति बेला चाहिँ demand हुन्थ्यो government sideबाट अलिअलि public sideबाट. But then अलिकति technology अलिकति lithium ion battery storage भएर चाहिँ cost धेरै high थियो त्यति बेला. So it was not easy to penetrate in the market. अलिअलि fluctuation, demand मा पनि fluctuation थियो. त्यसपछि गएर market मा पनि अलिकति penetration difficult थियो. And then 2015 मा actually 2008 मा चाहिँ Berkshire Hathawayले BYD मा invest गरेको थियो, 20% stake ल्याएको थियो. And then they decided to go into the new energy vehicles. So around 2012 मा चाहिँ फर्स्ट मोडल निकालेको थियो BYD ले आफ्नो डोमेस्टिक कन्ट्रीलाई चाइनामालाई निकालेको थियो अनि त्यति बेला दे साइन अप एग्रिमेन्ट विथ द सेन्जन गभर्मेन्ट सप्लाइङ द 15,000 इलेक्ट्रिक ट्याक्सी सो त्यसकै राइट एन्ड ड्राइभ भर्जन चाहिँ E6 वाज द फर्स्ट मोडल वी इम्पोर्टेड इन नेपाल 2015 and the story was like त्यति बेला पनि when we started importing the first model people were really shocked. Normally the notion of the electric vehicle in Nepal was number one was trolleys and connected with the wires and all. Number two was E2O Reva 2000 first early 2000 मा Reva introduced भएको थियो सानो two-door car थियो two-door car introduced भएको
I think we still see AC mode को साथीहरुले चलाइरहेको
yeah so त्यो introduced थियो and we bought a car with 4.5 meter long and we said that it can drive up to 400 kilometer and every market was shocked. So त्यति बेला चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ इनिशियली आफैले नै फर्स्टमा चाहिँ नेपाली टेरेनमा नेपाली टोपोग्राफीमा कस्तो हुन्छ भनेर हामीले आफै चलाइराख्यौँ फर एटलिस्ट फर इयर त्यो गऱ्यो
यो चाहिँ BYD E6
फर्स्ट चाहिँ E6 नेपाली चलान टोपोग्राफी चलान देन वी आर भेरी सेटिस्फाइड एभ्रिथिङ वाज गुड नो अब त्यति बेला चार्जिङ नेटवर्क त्यस्तो थिएन तर बट देन वी ह्याड वान स्टेसन in Naxal, nearby Naxal.
This is the car, right?
No, this is second.
This is the new one.
This
is the one that go get it.
BYD first and E6.
This one that taka tolago la. Right below. That silver one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. First and E6. So त्यति बेला हामीले टेस्ट ट्रायल गरेपछि चाहिँ we started going to the market. Look, we have a car, BYD E6, electric car, a pure electric car. It runs 400 kilometer, and everyone was shocked. 400 kilometers, single charge. Proper, like, you know, it looked proper, more like a compact SUV or it's a big car compared to what we had in previously in Nepal. So त्यहाँबाट start भयो and then it was really I would say difficult and weird at the same time. People were saying like, oh, Chinese car, electric, where the 2015s it was dominated by like we talked about the sub 4 meter things from India. त्यसले dominate गरिरहेको थियो and then it was people were just like in amusement. Hey, electric, Chinese, nothing else. So there was just amusement only. And penetration, selling was really difficult. Then we started using this, okay, now alikati awareness banaउनु पर्छ where the electric गाडी or future भनेर चाहिँ हामी स्कुलदेखि त्यति बेला चाहिँ electric vehicle will be future भनेर सुनिरहेका थियौँ उसमा चाहिँ गएर but then what we felt as होइन future होइन present अब बनाउनु पर्छ. Now the transition time has started. And 16 देखि we went to many different government agencies, government office. Look, sir, ma'am, this is the electric car. This is the future. Maybe this is BYD, but others will also come. So, but then we should make the right policies. We should make the right policies and right awareness. And it's the most important part of the policy and awareness should start from the government. So we started with that. And then त्यति बेला पनि अझ पनि भन्दा भन्यौँ हामीले ए हुन्छ त राम्रो छ ओहो अब हामी इलेक्ट्रिकमा जानुपर्छ भनेर कमन स्वर आउँथ्यो बट अडप्टेसन चाहिँ हुँदैन थियो भन्न चाहिँ हुन्थ्यो उसमा चाहिँ गएर चाहिँ एन्ड देन द टर्निङ पोइन्ट वाज 2017 अर्ली 2018 when government first purchased the electric car, this car. It was National Planning Commission.
Planning Commission like
yes, National Planning Commission to first kineko, and then they said that they will draft policies that every ministries, central ministries, they have to buy electric car. They have to at least have some electric car in their fleet. So that was the first major win. And then after that, we had Nepal Electricity Authority Engineering Company. They all said that now I think that people upper tama kosi grid ma aउने कुरा थियो. And then grid ma आएपछि they were talking about the surplus energy, spillover energies like night time मा चाहिँ अब तपाईको monsoon seasons हरुमा त energy बढी हुन्छ. So it is a mandatory, it is very fundamental for this state grid company NEA to adopt the electric vehicles भनेर त्यहाँबाट सुरु भयो. त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ तपाईको NEA engine company त्यसपछि NEA बाट कुलमान सर started even driving E6 himself त्यति बेला चाहिँ त्यसको इफेक्ट चाहिँ बिस्तारै अब अरू गभर्मेन्ट एजेन्सिजहरुमा आउन थाल्यो. त्यसपछि चाहिँ मिनिस्ट्री अफ फरेन अफेयर्स, त्यसपछि चिफ मिनिस्टर अफिस अफ चिफ मिनिस्टर तपाईको यो बागमती प्रदेशको बागमती प्रोभिन्सको थियो. एन्ड देन इट वाज आई थिङ्क प्रोबेबली नेपाल अन अ ग्लोबल स्केल त्यति बेलाको प्रेसिडेन्ट विद्यादेवी भण्डारी आई थिङ्क ही वाज द फर्स्ट हेड अफ स्टेट टु युज इलेक्ट्रिक कार इन हर फ्लिट ग्लोबली नै. आइ एम नट स्योर अब फुल्ली अब भन्छ 100% सब्जेक्टिभ एक्युरेट एट अल.
राष्ट्रपतिको फ्लिटमा E6 थियो.
And it was the first in global. संसारमै फर्स्टमा थियो त्यति बेला चाहिँ. So and even she went to one conference, I think it was in Davos, and she said something that really touched me, still touches me क्या अहिले पनि. We are facing the brunt of disproportionate climate change ki. Because Nepal as a country, you know, carbon tapeko emission ma, because the industrialization अलिक कम छ हाम्रोमा त्यस्तो धेरै छैन. But मार खानेमा हामी भयो. We are facing the disproportionate brunt of this climate change. Our mountains there are no snows in mountains, glaciers are फुटिरहेछ. So but in my own capacity, what I have done to fight against this climate change is using the electric vehicle. त्यति म एउटा चाहिँ एउटा सानो नेसन, एउटा लिस्ट डेभलप कन्ट्री भए पनि त्यति चाहिँ मैले अडप्ट गरिरहेको छु भनेर चाहिँ उहाँले भन्नु पनि भएको थियो. विच इज भेरी एक्चुली इभन फर मी नाउ इट्स भेरी मेक सेन्स, इन्सपायरिङ हो भइरहेछ तपाईँको त्यो चाहिँ. बट देन इन ग्लोबल अरेनामा हामीले के भन्न सक्छौँ नि, यस डिस्पाइट त्यस्तो भयो, डिस्पाइट हाम्रो त्यो क्लाइमेट चेन्जमा धेरै कन्ट्रिब्युसन आयो, तर सफर त हामीले गरिरहेछौँ. तैपनि हामीले एउटा केही न केही एफर्ट त गरिरहेछौँ नि त, हामीले केही न केही एउटा इनिसिएसन ल्याएछौँ भनेर उहाँले भन्नुभएको थियो. सो वेन सी एट द टाइम सी वाज अलरेडी ड्राइभिङ BYD E6. त्यसपछि 2019तिर वी गट दिस कन्ट्र्याक्ट फ्रम, इट वाज फाइनेन्स बाई ADB. And then executing agency was Ministry of Culture, Tourism, Civil Aviation, Central Ministry थियो. And then we got a contract to supply 5 buses and 14 vans, electric vans, to Lumbini Development Trust for using त्यसको युटिलिटी चाहिँ त्यो नयाँ एयरपोर्टमा थियो, बसेस र भ्यान्स चाहिँ नयाँ एयरपोर्टमा थियो. अनि त्यति बेला 19 पछि यस देन कोभिड्स एन्ड अल ह्यापन्ड. एन्ड 2021 को एन्डतिर 2021 एन्ड 2022 अर्ली 2021 अघि जुन देखाएको छ सेकेन्ड जेन E6 सुरु हो. एन्ड द्याट्स वेयर वी स्टार्टेड फ्रम जर्नी फ्रम B2G अथवा अवेरनेस त्यो लेभलबाट चाहिँ B2B B2C मा जानुपर्छ अब चाहिँ. नाउ वी हेभ द प्रडक्ट भनेर चाहिँ गयो. Despite saying that there are too many hustles, which
I'm sure, man.
त्यो policy level departuresहरू धेरै थियो, unclarities, त्यो uncertaintiesहरू धेरै थियो. But then yes, so that's when we went 2022 मा चाहिँ with the launch of E6, second gen E6 and Aether 3, the new chapter of BYD in Nepal started.
Aether 3 आउने बित्तिकै त अनि त्यसपछि त we'll talk about that. we'll talk about that. एउटा कस्तो इन्ट्रेस्टिङ कुरा, few interesting things that you just shared हैन, म यो टच बेस गर्छु. वारेन बफेटले स्ट्याम्प लाउने बित्तिकै हैन कि बर्कशायर ह्याथवेले स्ट्याम्प लाउने बित्तिकै BYD मैले सुने हो कि हैन. A globally recognized, of course the brand is definitely there, हैन, a globally recognized company going ahead and saying that okay, we will be a part of this and we will be a part of the future. I think that was a big stamp on BYD at that time.
Definitely. At that time, 2008, the world was suffering the spill aftermath effect, or still not aftermath, the effect of the recession. The global market was crashing and all. So त्यति बेला for a company like BYD just 13 years अगाडि, 13 वर्ष अगाडि खोलेको थियो. 2008 मा 1995 मा खोलेको एउटा केमिस्टले खोलेको कम्पनी, 20 इम्प्लोइज खोलेको कम्पनीलाई 13 वर्षपछि बर्कशायर ह्याथवे, लाइक वारेन बफेट who himself is a brand, त्यति बेला he invested 20% equity. So there was a major leap. Now the catch is why he invested. त्यस्तो तपाईँको रिसेसनको भर्खर सकिँला, रिसेसनको टाइममा चाइनिज कम्पनीमा 13 वर्ष अगाडि वाइ इन्भेस्ट, देयर इज अ क्याच, द्याट्स बिकज अफ टेक्नोलोजी. सो हि वाज अलरेडी इन द लिथियम आयन ब्याट्रिज वर देयर प्रिभियसली, बट देन त्यसलाई हार्नेस गर्न तपाईँको त्यसलाई हार्नेस गरेर त्यसलाई कस्ट इफेक्टिभ बनाएर र त्यसलाई अब ब्याट्री म्यानेजमेन्ट सिस्टमहरू बनाएर गर्दाखेरि BYD वाज ahead than other competitors. And then BYD were already into the automobile business. They acquired 2003 they acquired one existing Chinese company they acquired that used to make the gasoline ICE vehicles. But then he shared the plan of making the electric vehicles.
And China was definitely ahead of it in Africa and other parts of the world to go ahead and figure out mining as well.
Mining, yes.
पहिला म भन्छु है, I'll share this story with both of you, because you're selling electric scooter, so I'll touch base on this. One of म हाई स्कुल पढ्दाखेरि मेरो एउटा साथीको एउटा बाइक थियो कि होइन, त्यो बाइकको नाम इफ आई एम नट मिस्टेकन यिङ याङ थियो, के अरे यिङ याङ और अलोङ द्याट लाइन थियो है, यो गुगल गर ल होइन. यो बाइक चाहिँ कस्तो थियो भने जापानिज कुनै मोटरसाइकलको चाहिँ कपी हो कि यो क्लियर कट इट्स अ कपी अफ अ जापानिज मोटरसाइकल होइन बट चाइनिज मेड होइन आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर वी वेन्ट टु हामी पोखरा हुँदै हामी अझ माथि जान खोजेको थियो कि होइन बेनी हुँदै माथि जान खोजेको थियो गएन क्या त्यसको बाइक होइन अनेस्ट टु गड गएन क्या त्यो बाइक होइन दिस इज ब्रान्ड न्यू बाइक भेरी ब्युटिफुल बाइक है होइन इट डिन्ट मेक इट कि होइन अनि आजसम्म पनि आई थिङ्क अबाउट इट के समटाइम्स होइन अनि द्याट बाइक डिन्ट मेक इट बिकज मोस्ट प्रब्ली द टेक्नोलोजी वाज नट देयर येट के होइन फर चाइना टु गो एड एन्ड प्रड्युस अ मोटरसाइकल अफ द्याट क्यालिबर जुन चाहिँ आई युज टु राइड अ जापानिज बाइक एट द टाइम होइन obviously down the road गाडीहरू आयो obviously we've seen Chinese made cars in Nepal ice cars right त्यो पनि it was not up to the mark I've sat in those cars I've driven those cars and it was definitely not up to the mark at that time होइन I'm going to be very blunt and honest here होइन but now the tables have turned right Is this because of technology? Is this because of the R&D? Is this because of the stamp that the Chinese-made vehicles have had? Or is this because also of the government supporting the manufacturers? What is it?
I think it's a combination for sure.
Of everything?
Yeah, but like just to give an example also, like you're talking about the Chinese vehicles. Actually, Ajuba was also one of the first people to import a Chinese vehicle here. In the early 2000s, he imported Great Wall Motor and Chery. To be like, we realized what their engineering is. But I think when we look at the transition, and I think BYD is the perfect company to talk about because Asti Bakar, Aether co-CEO, Tarun Mehta, he put out a little... He does this thing where he puts out a little bit of information out there, just like, hey, guys, FYI. And his FYI that day was about how BYD R&D department is so large, it actually almost makes up most of the world's R&D when it comes to mobility. They have over 110,000 people working in R&D, apparently, according to, the research that was put out there by Tarun Mehta. And his whole thing was saying, we are in a transitionary phase of mobility right now. Like I keep saying, 120 years ago, when the first car was first made, electric cars actually came out then, but it's what stuck. The cheapest was gasoline because they were just discovering, so that's what became big. And battery, they said, okay, let's put it on hold. But now in this world, we're realizing, we have to turn back the clock a little bit, use this technology, and let go of the gasoline technology and now adopt a new cleaner technology. I think we are in a transition right now where BEVs definitely is paving the way forward. Same thing, I think I said this last time when I was here as well, but there's around 220 EV companies in China. Same thing happened in Europe, same thing happened in the States when Automotive was first introduced there with the ICEs. Now there's, much fewer mobility companies. So I think we have to really be at the forefront. I think BYD is doing a phenomenal job being a market leader, being the company that's actually pioneering in this field to then work on, what the future is going to be is not going to be dependent on the market. Now it's going to be more on what they give you. So I think we are in that transitionary phase right now, which is a very interesting place to be because it doesn't come along that often at all.
Exactly. Agreeing to that, adding on to it that why I'm sharing this story because without the government support, it's next to impossible to achieve what BYD has achieved, and to also just giving an example, somebody was here and then we were talking about Shenzhen, 20-30 years ago, I believe 30-40 years ago, it was a small little, not small, but it was just a grassland.
Grassland on the river,
त्यति मात्र हो नि त नि होइन थिएन नि त होइन हिजो एउटा डेटा हेरिरहेको थियो कि some of the most amount of skyscrapers in the planet is in China now. होइन it's not other parts of the world होइन so from that होइन 85 रहेछ होइन okay so from that to turned into that हुन्छ नि होइन it's not possible like a private company coming in and saying that we're going to do this it's not possible without the support from the government. Okay, that's what I was trying to explain earlier. Okay, that even to, so I didn't know that Vaidya organization had gotten these two
Cherry
brands,
and Great Wall,
Cherry
yeah.
and Great Wall back
This
in the
was
day.
a long time ago.
Eh, ora?
I barely remember it.
The cars were not that great, I'm sorry to
Yeah,
say.
we stopped our partnership quite early, but now they're doing phenomenal.
Now it's amazing, eh? With EVs. The ICE cars were, bro, like, I'm going to be honestly blunt here. When somebody in my family had one, it was not great. It didn't last too long. But now it's like, I believe it's the Great Wall company.
It's a great wall.
Yeah, and Cherry is one of the leading companies
Great.
in.
Cherry's got some new car, no?
Cherry, this Omada Jayco is a subsidiary brand of Cherry.
Of Cherry, yeah. It's such a fantastic car. So again, that's what I was trying to touch base on. Okay? Aether, I'll jump to Aether. Aether is backed by Hero, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, one of the biggest funders, actually, investors is Hero.
Is Hero, definitely the same thing that we talked about when it comes to Warren Buffett's company giving a big stamp to BYD at that time. Hero.
Exactly.
How is Aether doing in India?
So Aether, I think, is doing phenomenally for a company that started very similar actually to BYD. They started just making a BMS. So two college graduates from IIT Madras.
Swapnil and Tarun, right?
Yeah. So it was actually a school project that they started off with, and they basically wanted to conceptualize something got to do with BEV, battery manufacturing, and lithium, because they saw the potential that lithium had at that time. And what they wanted to do was basically create a battery management system to sell to other brands. But I think when they came to market, after they produced their first, battery pack and everything, they realized that there was no one to sell to. All the big boys were like, no, this is not going to work. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's too expensive. So they were like, you know what? Let's just do our own. Let's just create our own scooter. So they kind of became their own customer for their BMS. And they started selling 5 years ago. In 2018, they started selling scooters. Now they're taking on, in India, they're taking on all the legacy brands. And that's something that no one ever expected, especially in India. I think everyone would think, the legacy brands are here to stay. They'll be able to keep like new entrants out of the market, but they really are proving completely against that. I think they were one of the top 2 selling brands in the country just recently, and as of last week, they're officially a unicorn because they got some additional funding.
Good for them.
It's crazy. They're worth 1.2 billion, a privately owned company at the moment. Maybe going public is in the plans, but that's, coming up and seeing what they have is actually really interesting, and how they've come up so quickly. Again, it's a very interesting case study and a story.
Let me touch base on this. This is so interesting. I didn't think about this earlier. How difficult was it, Suryansh, for you to convince your family कि होइन वैद्य एनर्जीमा चाहिँ हामी इथर लिएर आउने होइन र यो ब्रान्ड चाहिँ नेपालमा चाहिँ काम गर्छ भनेर के होइन कतिको डिफिकल्ट थियो टु कन्भिन्स योर फ्यामिली
Convincing family wasn't
that difficult.
From my side, in the sense that I definitely because we're, again, one thing that we are doing to kind of formalize things, because I know you hear a lot about family businesses going south very quickly. We're trying to create like a constitution and everything. So one thing that we did was I had to give all of my findings and very logical reasoning backed by data.
Homework. Yeah.
To a very extreme extent also. But basically I had to convince them, and pretty much they've given me freedom to kind of carry forth my vision with Aether here in Nepal as well. So the convincing part wasn't the most difficult part, no. I think me getting Aether was insanely difficult, because they were speaking to around 60 different businesses and business owners to potentially be their distributor here. So, I mean, it's a stroke of luck. I mean, I have to look at it as a stroke of luck as well. Absolutely.
So, same thing goes to you. Kinavane to convincing part pani थियो होला, obviously getting it here.
Yes.
To Nepal. Cimex being the organization to get it here without having a background of automobiles in automobile in this country. Obviously, you had that. You had that. You didn't have that at all.
No.
Katiको गाह्रो भयो?
No, it was first thing was like you said, a stroke of luck. The first one was at 2011 when we started it. The BYD was not household name, even not like Aether at the time. Aether was already a household name 3 years ago. They were doing good on the R&Ds. We know that, but BYD at the time we just had the Chinese company doing the just into the new energy business was there. So 2011 it was most about figuring out that having an intuition that okay, this company will grow big, so we should have some kind of tie up with them. So at the time we started with the solars and new everything, which was not mostly something was others were not looking into it. But post 2015 when we got into automobile, at first it was just like okay, this is not a sustainable or long term business, because things are not clear, especially in terms of adaptation of electric vehicle in Nepal. And after the development from 2015 to 2020, now the challenge was not getting. We already had the company, but then we had many challenges, sticking to it. We had many challenges sticking to it, because now the things were looking very good, not only in Nepal but global scale. Electric vehicle adaptations, and the second was, even in Nepal, there were already signs that now the electric mobility adaptation of electric vehicle would kick off in Nepal. So there were many challenges for us in terms of from the operational level, from the sustainability, keep ongoing concern.
कतिको गाह्रो भयो होइन टिकाएर राख्नलाई क्या, किनभने चल्न थालेपछि गाह्रो हुन्छ नि त, सबैलाई चाहिन्छ नि त, everybody wants a piece of the action, right? Don't worry, I'll say it bluntly, don't worry, I know what you want to say, I'll say it bluntly, होइन, टिकाएर राख्न त बडो गाह्रो हुन्छ नि त, होइन, चल्न थालेपछि सिक्न कतिको गाह्रो भयो कि, होइन, अनेस्ट भने मैले, होइन, किनभने you are not in automobile sector at all, and I'm sure you had to do a lot of convincing to your Cimex, within Cimex, that the गाडी चाहिँ ल्याउँ, त्यो एउटा गाडी ल्याउन सस्तो त पर्दैन होइन, बडो आधा करोडको गाडी होइन नेपालमा इम्पोर्ट गर्न, त्यो पनि 100 पिस, गाह्रो काम हो नि होइन, नगरे कम्पनीले
नगरे होइन, डेफिनेटली होइन, अघि लाइक आई सेड द स्टिकिङ टु इट, अर त्यसलाई चाहिँ गएर सस्टेनेबली अगाडि लागिराख्न चाहिँ धेरै गाह्रो थियो. नाउ वेन द बिजनेस इज ग्रोइङ, एभ्री वान वान्ट्स अ चङ्क अफ इट, एभ्री वान्ट्स अ पाइ अफ इट, त्यो पाटो थियो. बट देन वान थिङ द्याट रियली inspired me was how BYD as a principal company said to me that at the time when no one had a vision of this, Cimex had one. So you are the one that will carry the BYD's legacy in Nepal. So that was really inspiring for me.
You were 22 years old.
I was at the
21,
time
22,
23. Yeah, I just had finished my uni exam and I straight went to the office and then started writing emails to BYD. At the time, we had imported 10 cars already. But then
E6.
it was E6, yeah, first thing. We had already imported 10 cars, and it was still in the trial phase. So what next we are going to do? Like, first of all, we had also tried to do a trial operation by ourselves, using the charge cycle, discharge, charging stations, before, getting into the actual market, like I said previously as well. So it was that phase when I joined as an intern in Cimex. And then straight talking with the BYDs, okay, what are the things that best worked in other market that they have launched in international market. At the time, they had launched in Hong Kong market. They were planning to have some engagement in Australia and the ASEAN markets they were planning. So I remember, I think, on the second or third day, then we started having a con call with different teams from the ASEAN markets. So what's next for BYD in ASEAN region? It was the first, it was a very, on a whiteboard we start writing. In Australia, maybe we can do this. In Nepal, we're doing this. In New Zealand or in Thailand, we're doing this. So that what sparked the journey of BYD at the time when I was 22, 23 old in Nepal.
Damn. No, when we think about it. Okay. Suryansh, the first business that you ever did was, I still remember you shared with all of us last time, right? Thore touch base karta. The first business you did?
So, Pitshtop was the
Pitshtop,
first thing that I started here. I think just to add on even Pailako, what I was trying to, what we spoke about, I think because our family is so embedded into mobility here, I wanted to kind of expand in the field. Sales is one part. After sales is another part. There's so many things in between that it goes from purchasing a car to end of life. So I think that's something that at Pitstop is the vision that, restore older vehicles, make it running, try to make it more affordable. I think one of the most difficult things for us was when all of the, like we spoke earlier, when Creta, EcoSport, everything was coming in, we didn't have a competitor product at that time. So since then, I think Toyota in Nepal, when we look at it, because of the policy and everything, it is a very expensive car. It's not very, I keep saying it's designed for the people. But here, we're a luxury brand where over the last 57 years, somehow we're comparative to BMW and Mercedes, where I think Nepal is the only place where people perceive Toyota like that. So that's where I wanted to kind of work and say, okay, if we're here to serve the masses, I don't think it's only through new vehicle sales. So I wanted to get into aftermarket stuff. Be able to restore. A couple of new avenues that we're looking into, I'm looking into, is everything in between when it comes to mobility. Pitstop itself, restorations. Now we're trying to see if we can go into conversions as well, where older vehicles, ICE models, instead of scrapping them, because hamro law we bring it in. You're not allowed to sell it outside, and pretty much end of life is scrapping the car. So
scrapping
zero value. Yeah. So instead of scrapping it, it's cars made in the 80s or before in the 90s as well. They're solid cars. The frame is phenomenal. So what if you could convert that to an EV, to a new technology thing? So we're trying to see and doing a little bit of research and work with some companies to potentially work on that as well through Pitstop.
Toyota, the old Hilux turning into an EV. That's something that I want to buy.
The retrofitting is not, I think, accepted technology because people, they want the car in the pure EV architectures right now. Because if the retrofitting was accepted or, applicable in a very grassroots level, then there are many conversions.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So actually we're, in conversation with some people who are working strides and bounds in this field to try and, make it available to all. They're starting with two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and then working their way up to four-wheelers.
म टोयोटाको touch मात्र गर्छु ल. हजुर. Hybridको exactly what's going on and what's the tie-up between Toyota and BYD?
Sure. So I think knowing the potential of BYD being such a big leader in BEV technology, Toyota and China have, worked together with BYD to produce a model, which is the BZ3X. Basically Toyota is using BYD co-technology in their vehicle and kind of collaborating with them. Toyota is known for their collaborations across automotive. They worked with BMW for their Supras. They're working with the BZ4X is actually even a collaboration between Toyota and Subaru. The GR86, GT86 also was a collaboration between Subaru and Toyota as well.
This is the one, right?
Yes.
The collaboration between the two companies, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So this is with the BYD Blade battery technology, the BZ3X.
Well, I'll jump into the Blade technology. Obviously, Prius is Prius, man.
Yeah.
I'll come back to it again.
Absolutely.
Prius was way ahead of its time.
Absolutely, yeah.
For the early 2000s, because it transformed a lot of things. I still remember, I believe somebody within Apple was driving that as well, and it became very famous. Just like
a lot of early adopters were people in tech and celebrities in the West as well, yeah. And now when you come to look at it, the newest Prius is one of the nicest looking cars I've ever seen.
Let's check out the new Prius. The Prius 2023, 2024 good, sir?
Yeah.
4K, sir?
Yeah, it's out, yeah.
Toyota Prius 2024 gara.
It's crazy because the Prius is always known to be an ugly car. But this time they've really switched.
My very good friend in Hawaii, Lawrence, my scuba dive master, she still drives a Prius. I'll send you a picture. I mean, suppose cylinders or oxygen cylinder, air cylinders, Prius matters. I'll send you a picture.
Absolutely.
Man, this looks so sexy.
This actually the Pininfarina CEO, which is the designer for Ferrari, actually had to come out once this car came out and was like, okay, this is actually one of the best looking cars I've seen.
Get
in
one
the
here.
last day.
Get one here. Interior गर त. For me, for some reason, I like black interior. त्यो आफ्नो हुन्छ होला हैन.
Yeah.
मलाई चाहिँ black interior मन पर्छ. I hope this one is. Get one here. Get one
Sure.
here.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Actually,
yeah.
this is, yeah. I think they're finally changing their design philosophy and everything to be a little bit more up to the, to kind of cater to the future, I think, yeah.
This looks really nice. This looks really nice. No, good. You should get all the cars. Get one by one.
We're trying. We're
Get all
trying
the
our very
cars here.
best.
Okay, so Suryansh, when did you think that, okay, I need to get into, Vaidya Energy should get into purely electric vehicles? When did this come to play?
So I think, like I said, being in a transitionary phase, I think we have to try and diversify as much as possible. I keep telling people, like, even, you know, EV is the future, but it's really important to recognize that it's important to have diversity even when it comes to mobility. There's some things that EV can do much better than ICEs and hybrid, but there's a special use case for a hybrid or a special use case for ICE still. There's still a little bit of a gap. We're not ready to completely make 100% of our fleet be EV. You know, there's other technology that is in its infancy as well when it comes to like hydrogen and everything. But it's something that I think when it comes to diversifying into full BEV, we want to go with a trustworthy brand again. I think Aether kind of reminds me of how their philosophy is, you know, perfect the product not for in the eyes of the designer, but rather than the people. And I think they've created something phenomenal. I never thought that we'd be doing two-wheeler sales, to be really honest with you.
Why the organization getting into two-wheelers?
But I think it's a very interesting field to be in because, again, I think when Ajuba first started, he did it so that people would get mobility. I think we're trying to go back and say, okay, who needs it? How can we get it for them? I think we definitely want to be working for the people. I think we mentioned, like, you know, talked about it a little bit, like so many people are leaving the country. You know, they always say like, you know, yo uta paunsa, yo eta Nepal na paunde paundena. So we want to be able to say, okay, you can get everything that you want here. We want to create an environment where we get you to stay. So, I mean, as, you know, a point coming from privilege as well, I want to be able to give back as much as possible and, you know, just serve the market in a very interesting way. I mean, for people, what people want, give people what they want.
Reliability aspect ले इन्डियाको कुरा गर्छु र म हैन यसमा हैन इन्डियामा कतिवटा बिके छ एथर population is 1.3 whatever it is what's the
I'm not 100% sure what their sales numbers in India is,
but it's very big.
It's big. It's staggering. I'm sorry, I don't know that at the moment, but
don't worry about it. We'll find out.
It's quite large in India. Their markets are.
I saw something yesterday, you know, जहाँ चाहिँ charging stations हरु छ के उनीहरुको हैन.
Yeah.
So जसरी charging stations हरु उनीहरुले बनाइसकेको छ त्यो हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I'm sure the numbers are pretty decent.
Right. So they have over 3,000 charging stations across India. And they're actually focusing, because I think, again, within EV itself, there's so much debate on what the future is going to be. So you have swapping technology, you have everything, you have charging stations. So Aether has taken the path, and, you know, they're saying this is the way that we believe it's going to be, but we're not 100%. We're not going to be right in this case. We don't know what the future holds for us. So they're creating a huge charging network, and they've actually now partnered with their you know, investor, which is Hero. For their EVs, it's going to be the same chargers. So they have the largest charging network in India, and that's one thing that we wish to emulate here in Nepal as well. We have 15 chargers already, around 12 within the city, 3 outside the valley right now. And we're a lot of our community members, because again, we're asking them, where do you want it and everything.
Oh.
So a lot of people want it on the highways. So what we're doing is, I think within the next 2 months, we'll try to connect Pokhara, Chitwan, and Kathmandu with the charging network, so people can actually take their Aether out of the valley. I mean, it's not going to happen often, I don't think.
Yeah, but whenever they do.
Whenever they do, we want to be there for them.
2 models, right?
2 models,
I know.
450X and S.
X and S, I know. X is going to cost...
$399 starting in the X, and then going up to $439. The only difference really is the battery pack capacity, which is 3.7, 2.9. Otherwise, everything is same across the two of those models.
We'll show a picture of it, होइन? Sahil, did you ever imagine that यति धेरै Ather 3 बिक्छ यो देशमा भनेर?
No, to be honest, I did imagine.
Honest.
Yeah, to be honest, because now getting to know the technology in a core sense. I mean, I was with BYD and visiting BYD plant, factories, R&D centers from 2016-17. So I always had a hunch that BYD will grow big in future.
कहाँ थियो? सेन्जनमै थियो?
सेन्जनमा
सुरुमै थियो 2015-16 मै जाँदाखेरि
सेन्जनमै थियो. सेन्जनमा हेड अफिस थियो, बट प्लान्टहरू चाहिँ तपाईँको स्केटर्ड इन मेनी सिटिज इन चाइना. सो त्यति बेलादेखि नै 2016-17 my first journey with BYD, I had a hunch that something will come big from BYD. At the time, they were already leading the China market. They were already in a very pole position in China market in terms of BEV sales.
Top 4 in China, right? Top 4 automakers in China. BYD त्यतिखेरै थियो?
त्यतिखेर चाहिँ top flow मा अलि fluctuating थियो. They were not in top 4. Mostly China is dominated by VW market. Volkswagen को
पहिलादेखि नै. Of course, VW.
They were the first one to enter the China market. उसमा गएर चाहिँ. Then at that time, BYD was working 2015-16 देखि एउटा त्यो hunch, मलाई त्यो hunch आउने main reason was BYD was already working in affordability, cost cutting. So, I think he just said at the beginning as well, 1900, initial 1900, before the Henry Ford started, mass producing the Fords, electric there were already 1/3 of the vehicle were electric on the world in early 1900s. But it was at a time of affordability. The price points were really important. The technology was there, but then is it mass market or not? That was a key question. So from 2000, the way I know BYD, like when they started doing the manufacturing into this automobile sector, they were working on the cost cutting and making technology more affordable to the mass market. At the same time, giving the utmost priority to the safety and the new innovation. So that was what drove me to think that someday that given the right policies from the government side, right process management from our end, and also the having sticking to a belief, there was a key ingredient that led me to have kind of dream or believe that we can sell good volume in Nepal market. And then after the Aether 3, it made up what I
big milestone के त्यो बिजनेसमा हुन्छ नि एउटा के हैन मैले 100 वटा हुन्छ कि हामी सबैको हुन्छ होला के हैन you're selling cars हैन you're selling scooters and cars हैन I'm sure somebody else is doing some other business हुन्छ नि I have my own thing like I reached this more number and then I'll feel satisfied हैन what was the number for you हैन BYD को गाडीको केसमा के यति पुगेपछि म खुसी हुन्छु भनेर के पर्सनल नम्बर है this is not business number.
I never thought of such number in a way, okay, this is my milestone, something like that. But I thought that I could be in number 1 position. I really thought that.
4500 वटा गाडी आज कतिवटा BYD गाडी गुडिरहेछ यो देशमा?
Around 4500, yes. Around 4500, 4600 vehicle on the road.
How many Toyotas do we have? Would you know this number? Sorry, I'm throwing this.
No. It's a little bit tough to calculate because we've been working for quite some time. I think Toyota known for its reliability. Yeah. There's quite a few older vehicles as well.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure on the numbers, but
humongous. The most amount of cars in this country would be Toyota on today's date. Maybe.
I don't know. No, maybe not. Maybe
Maruti?
No. Maruti,
Suzuki,
right? You have Hyundai that's doing really well. I think I don't think Toyota will be the biggest. I don't know.
But the most oldest and the reliable ones would be Toyota.
The UIOs, I mean, when you look at it, the lifespan of the vehicles, they generally last a ridiculously long time. Looking at it, and I think that's their USP. So there's quite a few older Toyotas on the market as well.
Yeah, I agree. The one that you're driving as a Talara Hilux kati purano?
2020.
2020 go, a couple of years ago, right? I still know a friend who has very, very old Hilux, which I shared last time when photo matra patha chaina हैन 4500 एउटा.
Yeah, 4500.
In a span of
7 years. No, 9 years, let's say now.
9 years, हैन. But the most amount of cars that you sold was
last year. Last year, yes.
एक वर्षमा कतिवटा गाडी बिक्यो होला?
One year, last year we sold 4,000 last year.
How did you do it?
I need to know as well.
We all need to know.
I need to learn.
Everybody needs to. Everybody who sells, मतलब छैन मलाई यो बाइक गाडी स्कुटर ढुङ्गा जेसुकै होस् हैन, we need to know how did you do it?
No, it's a calculation त्यसरी 4,000 बिक्छु त्यस्तो भन्ने थिएन, but then it was always about okay, what is now the orientation of the market orientation कस्तो थियो. Last year we calculate based on the Nepalese fiscal year. So 79-80 ma total passenger vehicle import were around 8,000 to 9,000 import भएको थियो passenger vehicle. Out of them around 5,000 EV थियो. Out of them 5,000 just EV थियो. The market was penetrating at around त्यति बेला around 50-55% penetrate गरिरहेको थियो. So we discussed and we had a forecast that EV market will grow now. 80-81 आउँदाखेरि जुन अस्ति भर्खर असारम एन्ड भयो, EV market will grow. We are forecasting overall size of market to increase itself. किनभने अहिले जुन लेभलको त्यति बेला 55% अडप्टेसन भइसकेको थियो भनेपछि मान्छेले चाहिँ अब त्यो भेहिकल अन द रोडले गर्दाखेरि जुन इभीको एउटा ड्राइभ एक्सपिरियन्स, ओपेक्स कस्ट सेभिङ, अपरेसनल कस्ट सेभिङ, ड्राइभ एक्सपिरियन्सले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ पिपल विल मोर अट्र्याक्टेड टुवर्ड इभी. वी ह्याड द्याट calculation, we had that kind of we had a belief that the market size would increase, and we thought the market size would go up to 15,000, 14,000 to 15,000, and among them EV penetration would be around 50% to 60%. That was our forecast जुन जब हामीले plan बनायो last year को चाहिँ. So what happened was the market went up to 16,000. Market 16,000 मा गयो, 12,000 were EVs. The market penetration is more than 70% now. So that really helped us to drive to achieve the number.
एक दिनमा 11 वटा गाडी.
एक
दिनमा म गरिदिन्छु नि हिसाब, म गरिदिइहाल्छु नि हिसाब होइन. एक दिनमा तानतुन गरेर 11 वटा गाडी हरेक दिन 365 दिनसम्म बेच्नुभयो, जुन यो देशमा मोस्ट प्रोबब्ली पहिला भएको थिएन होला होइन. कसरी भयो यो मात्र हो के कीवर्ड
पहिला पनि other brands were in the position. If you look at the data from 2010 to 2020, the top players, they used to do 4,000, second used to do 3,000 त्यो cycle छ उसमा चाहिँ. So Nepal is a market of 10 to 12,000 हुन्थ्यो. The first three players used to dominate at least 60 to 70% of the market. There's a trend so उसमा चाहिँ. But the bigger picture that we are missing here is that's really important. अहिले तपाईले भन्न सक्नुहुन्छ last year we had 2 years मा हाम्रो adaptation तपाईको 55% थियो. 2 years अगाडि 55% थियो. त्यसपछि बढेर more than 70% भयो उसमा चाहिँ. Now if you Google the country with highest EV adaptation, Google मा देखाउँदैन. It won't show in Google. देखाउँदैन. We are, very much romanticized with this Scandinavian country. In Norway, mata 1 in 5 car, 1 in 4 car electric भइसक्यो. Sweden में यो छ. अर्को युरोपियन देशमा यो छ भनेर हामी त्यसरी हुन्छ नि रोमान्टिसाइज गरिरहेको हुन्छौँ. त्यसरी हामीले पपुलराइज भइरहेको हुन्छ. बट हाम्रो आफ्नै देश, our own country, we are one of the highest adopters of electric vehicle. त्यसमा पनि सिनर्जी, त्यसमा पनि अझ राइट नरेसन कहाँबाट डेभलप हुन्छ भने all our energy comes from hydropower, which is totally green energy. While we do not have any coal plants, we don't have any nuclear plants, all our, the gas, petrols or diesels are imported. So a country with 100% green energy is adopting electric vehicle at this pace, 70-75% pace. If we can tell the story to the world, if we can tell the story in the right way to the world, then I think we can take a leverage in multiple spectrum, be it with investments, green bonds, be it with the carbon credit things, be it with the enhancing the eco-mobility, eco-tourism. Post-COVID, there is a many consciousness of the eco-tourism. You want to travel, but then you want to ensure that environment or the local ecosystem is there. So there are multiple, avenues where you can use our story in global arena to take a leverage. in this. I really believe that we should be heading into this direction.
Let me go ahead and share your story as well along this line. Cimex Inc. How many people do we have in Cimex, give or take? Overall, the team of Cimex.
Cimex more than 200 there right now.
200 people.
Yes.
200 people and coming together and ordering 4,000 cars. How did BYD and how did China take that? When you mentioned that, okay, we're going to order 4,000, give or take, we're going to have 4,000 cars in 81, 82, 81.
No, it's very dynamic process. I didn't go to the BYD and said, okay, on the start of day, I need 4,000 cars. On the start of fiscal year, I didn't say I'll take 4,000 cars. But what we said, what our team was very determined was, okay, let's try to penetrate the market in the maximum, fullest swing. Because we knew the more and more our competitive partners, what I call them, like other brands, they are increasing the size of cake, not fighting for the pie. I really believe that. So the competitive partners will be coming more and more in future. So at the start of the year, we had discussion that, okay, this is the time when we now be more aggressive in the market, when we launch our offense in the market. That was a very crucial year for us. Then apart with the BYD was, I spoke so many things about the cutting edge technologies and all, but it's also learning the process management from BYD. Like I said, how do you manage 11,000 R&D engineers? How do you manage 6 lakhs employees? So it's about learning the process management, the control tables, the forecasting, and being prepared with learning from the other market that already had electric mobility or adaptation going on, good piece. So all these things factored in. We are a very young and dynamic team. Among those 200 plus employees, the median age is around 29, similar to my age. And the team is very, let's say, the cosmopolitan team from the diverse backgrounds. So then we decided, okay, step 1, let's go offense this year. Step 2, make sure that we had a, kind of this management thing, SMART goal, specific, measurable, achievable, this kind of goals. So month on month, we decided, okay, this is our first step. Then second month, this is our second target, third target. And then we had to also kind of had a, let's say, in a way, let's take a positive pressure on us, positive pressure. Let's keep always our feet on the toe. Let's keep always on ourselves on the toe. Let's take a positive pressure, and then series of all these things led to what you say, 4,000 vehicles off the road.
यो काम गर्ने 8 घण्टा हो नि त काम गर्ने टाइम हैन, हरेक घण्टामा हैन एउटा गाडी बिगाछ के हैन, त्यो पनि ब्रेकडाउन गर्दिन्छु म हैन.
It's just a 1 year thing that the biggest challenge is now the sustainability.
अर्को वर्ष के हुन्छ भन्ने पनि होला फेरि.
तपाईले अहिले त्यो नम्बर भन्नुहुन्छ, you have pointed out that number 4,000 a year, 11 a day, 1 in an hour. The next challenge is sustainability now. अब कसरी त्यो फिगर त्यो status maintain गरिराख्ने.
त्यो स्ट्रेस छ है.
Definitely.
I think especially this year when you look at NADA.
Yes.
I mean, the NADA Auto Show is happening right now. Like you said, I think you're so right. It's the same pie and you have to compete over the same thing, right? There's 9 new passenger vehicle brands coming in. It's going to be a bloodbath, I think, of competing.
Isn't it
for
already?
That thing.
Isn't it already?
I think known brands. I think BYD again has been leading. It's the brand that everyone knows. I don't think it's going to be tough for the newer brands to maintain and bring their brand up how how you really have to. Because at the end of the day, I mean, product is very important. It's, I think, at the forefront, that's what, at the end, the consumer makes the decision on the product, but I think the brand behind it also matters a lot. Right now, everyone's going to be shouting the loudest, and whoever gets heard is I feel like the consumers are going to be a little bit confused, to be really honest. And, looking at the really high adoption rates of BEV in Nepal, I think it's really important, to consider a few other aspects when you look at infrastructure, when you look at government support as well. We have to try and understand where exactly we're going to go. I'm so happy that we're the largest adopter. I keep telling people outside that we're actually one of the largest adopters in the world.
It's not just the Scandinavian countries.
Yes.
I mean, they have all their ways of,
No, that's why we are talking Scandinavian, because we feel romanticized by them.
Tita.
नर्वेमा यस्तो भयो, स्विडेनमा यस्तो भयो.
हामीले गरेर
नेपालमा
आएको
के
छ
भइरहेछ?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
So I think looking at that, it's important to also look at, because I think it's important to have a 10-year plan. When you go such a rapid switch as well, at least the policymakers should understand, okay, this is our 10-year goal, at least let us know as well. You know, my biggest shock when I came back from the States was policy switched overnight. You're not told. At least give us a plan. Like if you tell us we want to go 100% BEV by 2030, we'll all work together. We'll help you put up your charging stations. We'll help you make better roads. We'll help you get better technology. But if they also, like, you know, sometimes it has to be researched, take everyone's opinion. You know, one thing that I've been saying for quite some time is it's about time that we introduce the, Toyota people, the BYD people directly in a forum with the government saying this is what the 10 years that in our production is going to look like. Because it's not in our hands, really. BYD products, they don't make it specifically for Toyota. They're making it for the future of what they think mobility is going to be. And it's important that Hamra policymakers are at least known or know about it a little bit. So I think that's one point that shocked me. I still am not used to it, of the rapid changes, because even this time, I'm so glad they didn't suddenly raise the BEV taxes. Again, it's I think important to understand the reason in the last couple of decades in the history of us and consumers of mobility, the tax has been high because they claim it's a luxury tax.
Finish.
So it's important to understand what is the luxury. Is it mobility? Is it the car? Or is it the engine? Because it's important to understand all of that. I think recognizing the whole ecosystem and then go with the 10-year plan would be easy for companies that are, slogging and, hustling, like you said. It's a little bit easier if we had a little bit of a foresight of what's
I'm with you. That's the bloody thing I've been telling everybody sitting here, right? Especially policymakers. Blueprint एउटा बनाइदिनु. So that सबैलाई सजिलो हुन्छ भनेर नि यहाँ भोलि के गर्ने थाहा छैन हैन. Honest, like I'm going to be bluntly honest here. And they themselves don't know what they're going to do. They're going to be in power tomorrow or not. Right? So I'm with you. I'd rather be happy if they had a 30-year plan, right? Till 2050. भने त छ नभने हैन कि आई थिंक पुशब्याक गरेका अरे हामीले हैन कार्बन न्यूट्रल हुने भनेर 2050 पुर्याएका अरे.
I can show you at least 7 or 8 different plans pertinent to this electric mobility. National Action Plan for Electric Mobility 2030. National Plan for Air Free, Clean Environment, something like that. There are many plans. But then the real part is the departures are so sudden. You know, it's a fun fact now. From 2019 to 2024, in a span of 5 years, the electric vehicle tax system has been changed more than 5 times.
It's crazy.
5 times. And look at the precedent we established.
So 50 देखि त्यही रहेछ त म 3 वर्षको मात्र हेर्दाखेरि 50 to 100 हैन. करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रङ है. हामीले ल्याउँदाखेरिको सुरुको जुन यो के भन्छ यो इसिमोटको गाडीलाई के अरे रेभा कति किलोवाटको थियो के छ भने
रेभा इज लेस देन 100
हैन. सो भनौँ न 50 to 100 को मै हो नि हैन. अनि त्यसपछि महेन्द्रको आएको थियो इफ आई एम नट मिस्टेकन.
महेन्द्रलाई रेभालाई टेक ओभर गएको थियो
हैन. त्यो महेन्द्रको आएको थियो एउटा
Ituo. And it's the same car actually. Mahindra bought it from Riva.
Oh, okay. So that's the car that these two are the cars that the mini cars that I know from the road. And I don't know. After that, give or take, you guys came out with your vehicle, E6. E6 कति थियो त्यतिखेर आउँदाखेरि किलोवाटको हिसाबले?
किलोवाट हिसाबले E6 was 90 kilowatt.
Okay, so it was below
100.
Below 100, and then obviously Kona and then everything else came in, Hyundai came up with it, and then everybody else came up with it, So 3 वर्षमा 10% custom, 0% excise. अन्त शुल्क सुन्नै थियो अन्त शुल्क हैन. अब जे भयो बिचमा 120% को हैन. अब त्यो बाटो नजाउँ हैन. त्यो बाटो आज जानु मन छैन मलाई, जुन रिभर्ट ब्याक पनि भयो. त्यसपछि 50 to 100 को मात्र भन्दाखेरि 15% र 10% होइन, भन्सार 15%, अन्तशुल्क 10% होइन। मैले अरू जोडिनँ है, मैले भ्याट पनि जोडिनँ यसमा, के अरे रोड ट्याक्स पनि जोडिनँ, अरू केही पनि जोडिनँ मैले होइन। आजको दिनमा हामी मेजोरिटी गाडी 50 देखि 100 कै बिचमा हो।
यस
मेजोरिटी
यस, मोर देन 50% मार्केट सेयर हो त्यसको
होइन, मेजोरिटी होइन गाडीहरू जुन अहिले मैले देखेँ कि 101 देखि 200 किलोवाटसम्म पनि आइरहेको रहेछ होइन। भेरी एक्सपेन्सिभ फर मी, लाइक मैले 2 करोडसम्मको नि 1 करोड जुनको गाडी पनि अस्ति देख्दै थिएँ होइन, 1.5 इफ आइ एम नट मिस्टेकन इभी होइन। सो अभियसली वी हेभ द टेस्लाज इन नेपाल टु होइन, इट्स नट द्याट वी डोन्ट हेभ द टेस्लाज होइन। सो 50 to 100 मेजोरिटी। एटो 3 कति हो?
एटो 3 100 किलोवाट
100
किलोवाट।
ओके, सो द्याट्स 20% कस्टम्स एन्ड 15% एक्साइज होइन। फ्युचरमा के गर्दा सकिन्छ होला त होइन, किनभने अब यसो सोच्दाखेरि त अर्को पालि पनि बजेट आउँछ, बजेट अगाडि फेरि भयोभरको गाडी आउँछ होइन, भयोभरको हामी सबैले खरिद गर्छौँ होइन। त्यो साइकलै रहने भयो नि त जहिले पनि होइन। इज द्याट द साइकल द्याट Toyota wants? Is that the cycle that BYD wants?
I think there's too much speculation involved.
I want to narrate a history then on
Please.
Based on what the future outlook looks like. Actually, electric mobility in Nepal also started in 1970. Shenzhen HK511, something like that, trolley bus, the first trolley bus that came to Nepal, 1970. अनि 1989 मा ब्लकेड भएको थियो त्यति बेला इन्डिया प्लायमा। त्यसपछि 1991 मा चाहिँ फर्स्ट त्यो सफार टेम्पो आएको कन्सेप्ट आएको थियो कि, फर्स्ट सफार टेम्पोको कन्सेप्ट आइसक्यो 1991 मा। 1999 मा त तपाईँको सफार टेम्पो त्यो क्यालिफोर्नियाबाट पहिला ब्याट्री इम्पोर्ट गर्ने नेपालमा एसेम्बली सुरु गरिसकेको थियो। सो इलेक्ट्रिक मोबिलिटी त्यो पेसमा गएको थियो। कम 2001 देयर वाज अ लास्ट राइड अफ ट्रली बस सक्यो। सेन्जेन एउटा चाइना गभर्मेन्टले गिफ्ट दिएको थियो 1970, 30 इयरमा त्यो ट्रली बसको साइकल एन्ड भयो। अहिले त्यो ट्रली बस चाहिँ तपाईँले त्यो डिपार्टमेन्ट अफ ट्रान्सपोर्ट म्यानेजमेन्ट
BICC को छेउमा
त्यहाँ भेटाउनुहोस् तपाईँले, त्यहाँ एउटा राम्रो लाइन ल्याएको छ कि म भविष्य हुँ ल्याएको छ कि। सो द्याट्स हाउ थिङ्स इन नेपाल इज कि यदि पोलिसी राइट भएन, हामी सस्टेनेबिलिटी कुरा गर्छौँ, यदि पोलिसीमै सस्टेनेबिलिटी छैन भने त देन दिस इलेक्ट्रिक मोबिलिटी इज अल्सो हेडिङ टुवर्ड नेक्स्ट ट्रली बस। म भविष्य हो अहिले नेक्स्ट आई थिङ्क स्टार्ट 2000 रेवा 2000 पछि आएको, 2010 पछि E2R आएको। सो राइट नाउ इट्स अराउन्ड 15 इयर्स अहिलेसम्म। तर यो 15 इयर्समा जुन पोलिसी, दिस इज द पिक्चर, म भविष्य हुँ, दिस इज ट्रली बस।
मलाई बचाइराख्नुहोस् पनि लेखेको छ यसमा। अरे यार, ओहो ओहो, यो थाहा थिएन मलाई, यो नयाँ कुरा भयो। म नै भविष्य हुँ, मलाई बचाइराख्नुहोस्।
1970 मा फर्स्ट आएको ट्रली बस।
स्टिकर बनाऊ है, यो सबै इभीमा टाँच्नु पऱ्यो स्टिकर है। हामी इनिसिएटिभ लिन्छौँ, हामी स्टिकर टाँच्छौँ यसको। I'll give it to Aether and bilingual.
होइन, अब त्यो आउँदाखेरि जुन हाम्रो हिस्टोरिकल नेरेसन यो भयो, यदि राइट पोलिसी सस्टेनेबल पोलिसी सस्टेनेबिलिटीमा हामी हेरेनौँ भने इट्स नो डिफरेन्स देन दिस इन्सिडेन्ट। अब नेक्स्ट इज जहिले पनि इलेक्ट्रिक भेहिकललाई ट्याक्स ब्र्याकेटमा हेर्छौँ कि हामी, रेभेन्यूको लेन्सबाट हेर्छौँ कि ओके यति अघि तपाईँले डाटै निकालेर भनिदिनु भयो 20% 15% यसरी भन्नु। आई प्रिफर टु लुक इन टु वे कि हिज गभर्मेन्ट always from the looking from the perspective of revenue, profit loss. So what about the welfare? What about the welfare? What about giving the message to the world that in Nepal we just not only cater to the short-term things but long-term sustainability? एउटा पोलिसी मेकर कस्तो हुनुपर्छ? एउटा यो भनौँ न महामारी आएपछि हस्पिटल चाँडो बनाइहालौँ कि होइन, जे पनि हुनसक्छ, त्यो अहिलेको जुन समस्या छ त्यो पछि ब्रस्ट हुनसक्छ भनेर त्यो हस्पिटल नबनाउन क्लिन इन्भाइरोमेन्ट बनाउने त विच टाइप अफ पोलिसी मेकर वी वान्ट इन द कन्ट्री? पछि गएर एब्रप्टली काम गर्ने कि होइन, एउटा लङ टर्म भिजन प्लानिङ राखेर सस्टेनेबल पोलिसी बनाउने। सो इलेक्ट्रिक भेहिकल त्यो एउटा प्रफिट लसमा ट्याक्स लस यति, गाडी यति आयो, त्यो लेन्समा मात्र होइन कि वेलफेयरको लेन्समा हेर्नुपर्छ. एन्ड सेकेन्ड इज लाइक हि अल्सो मेन्सन्ड वेयर इज टेक्नोलोजी हेडिङ टुवर्ड, त्यसलाई पनि अकाउन्ट गर्न जरुरी छ. नाउ मोबिलिटी इज मोर एन्ड मोर एज अ सर्भिस, मास मोबिलिटी भन्छौँ, MAS, मोबिलिटी एज अ सर्भिस गइरहेछ उसमा गएर चाहिँ. सो मोबिलिटी एज इन टर्म अफ न्यू टेक लाइक अहिले EV छ, देन द हाइड्रोजन रेन्ज एक्सटेन्डरहरू पनि आइरहेछ. सो सबै कुरा फ्याक्टरलाई अकाउन्ट गरेर र अहिले भएको इकोसिस्टमलाई डिस्टर्ब नगरिकन, नाउ यु क्यान जस्ट से द्याट कम हियर एन्ड से द्याट ओके next year let's drastically increase the tax.
Yep.
So what about the ecosystem that has been invested in this? It's not only about the vehicles on the road, it's about the building that ecosystem with the charge points, with the building the ecosystem charge points, tapayko service network haru, human resource training haru. Do you know one fun fact? Well, not fun fact, it's a fact now. We are training our engineers in Nepal. They are giving trainings to our counterparts from Sri Lanka, from Bangladesh. They are coming to Nepal and take training from our engineers right now. It's also the part of, that's not 4,000 vehicles on the roads. It's also the part of, training the right human resources, right manpower. And Chinese were so impressed with our engineers, Nepalese engineers. They were so much impressed that they said that please keep training to other countries. They actually they are conceptualizing the Nepal as a training hub, especially for the South Asian countries, engineers. So this is the effect of, the ecosystem that we are fostering in Nepal. And I think यही ecosystem, but now we come to new thing is technology transfer. So यही ecosystem ले गर्दा यो इलेक्ट्रिक भेहिकलको अडप्टेसनले गर्दाखेरि यो इकोसिस्टम बढिरहेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि होला अरू सेक्टरमा यसको इम्प्याक्ट देखिरहेछ. लाइक पब्लिक सेक्टरमा मेनी माइक्रोभ्यान्स or इलेक्ट्रिक छ अहिले. I think Saza has already imported using the public bus as well. So नेपालमै तपाईको two-wheeler manufacturing गर्ने कम्पनी छ अहिले. It's a very proud moment as a Nepali.
Absolutely.
Yeah. नेपालमै अहिले तपाईको चार्ज पोइन्ट बनाउने कम्पनी छ, चार्जिङ स्टेसन बनाउने कम्पनी छ, नेपालमा डेभलप भइरहेछ. सो बिस्तारै तपाईको यो अडप्टेसनले चाहिँ फ्रम क्रिएटिङ न्यू इकोसिस्टम्स, क्रिएटिङ न्यू एभिन्यूज लाइक टेक्नोलोजी ट्रान्सफर्सहरू, त्यसरी चाहिँ यसलाई ल्याइरहेको छ. सो यो इकोसिस्टममा अझ नर्चर गर्नुपर्छ, अझ फस्टर हुनुपर्छ विथ लेट्स से डाइनामिक र जहिले पनि तपाईँको चाहिँ ओके वी मेक अ प्लान फर 10 years लेट्स से, बट देन keep a room for improvisation as well. Adaptation पनि गरिराख्नुपर्छ, but ensure that your plan is sustainable.
So basically एक हिसाबले भन्नुपर्दा एकैचोटि 120% ट्याक्स फेरि बढ्यो भने कसैले खरिद गर्दैन हैन त, and then that's the end of it हैन त.
That's wrong precedent. As a electric vehicle छ भने भोलि अरू इन्डस्ट्री हुन सक्छ होला. We are doing everything in our belts that okay, investor come invest. And what message you want to give in global arena in Nepal? Okay, one hunch, then from 10% to 120%. Maybe this is electric vehicle right now. What about in other industry? So, euta industry ma huncha bhane, what stops them from other industry? This is not the right message you want to give to anyone.
Yes. Going on that precedent, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is a time where looking at what they've done for EV, I think, a lot of people do say, okay, revenue ko ke garne. I think you're absolutely right about the welfare and everything. Again, it was a very trial and error phase that now we made the decision. That's why I feel like when you're looking forward, you've made the decision. Don't go back on it. But at least tell us. So let's say by this organization, we can concentrate maybe on tech, on, like you were saying, mobility as a service. I think it's such a large ecosystem that we can be developing. Does it make sense for us to import the ICE vehicles that costs so much, or does it make sense to take that investment and put it into tech instead? So if we had a clear vision of what our future is going to be, it would be easy for the businesses also to support the systems within the country. I think when we look at it and, when it comes to foreign investments and everything, manufacturing to export will be difficult just because we are surrounded by the two biggest giants in the world when it comes to manufacturing. Competing with them is difficult. But that doesn't mean that the government or that we don't have the capability to do it in other industries like tech. Like when we look at it, we have brilliant people all over the world, Nepali people working in such high positions in such reputable companies. So Toyota basically has split now. They're saying hardware or software ko chute huncha. The person by Akio Toyoda's son, who's running the software side in California, his name is Max Bhattacharya. I'm not going to make any conclusions. He's American, but you have to try and recognize where he could his roots go from. The person who designed the Rista and Aether, he had a very key fundamental role in the designing of the architecture 450 series, which we have in Nepal, and the new model in India that's not here yet. He actually was one of the leading people, and he's Nepali. And you look around, there's no constraints of the government or anything that will stop us from being huge in tech. When people say we can be the Silicon Valley of Asia, I really, some people laugh and say that's never going to happen. But I say, why not? What's stopping us, really? So I think what you're saying, again, welfare and everything, if government can go and, let's say, support us in tech, and, let's say we work in training, I think that's a phenomenal feat that, our Nepali engineers are actually teaching the Bangladeshi, the Sri Lankans, and everything. It's phenomenal. Yeah. We haven't been able to do this before, and it's because you gave this the opportunity. And they made that decision. It doesn't make sense to go back now. So, but we're looking forward. We just need a little bit of clarity.
Yes, my clear cut. I'll give you an example since Sahil Agina shared that I did a basic math one. I'm a layman. I understand my business. My business is media. I don't understand anything else. Top 3 imports, it's petroleum. Give or take.
No, number 1 is petroleum.
My top 3 one. As a good din, we will be exporting clean energy. It's a given fact. It's a given fact. In another few decades, we will export clean energy to the rest of the world. Let me put it that way. As a good dinma, if we have a clear-cut picture that, okay, we'll reduce petroleum gradually, and we will use our in-house clean energy. Matra bhanne pani, र त्यो far side vision matra दिदियो भने पनि, is it going to be a clearer picture to market leaders like Vaidya organization, market leaders like Cimex Inc?
I believe that in this journey, like you said, now we are exporting the energy while reducing the import of the petroleum, which is number 1 import right now. But it will be evolution, not the revolution. So you cannot just check the metrics tomorrow. Yeah, we are still importing the same petroleums and we are exporting the energy mostly on the monsoon season. It won't be changed just in a day or two. So, but it's the gradual process. I really believe that. Now, in terms of energy sector, our transmission lines, they are being strengthened. Our transmission line, we are growing it, and given the opportunities in overseas market, I really believe we'll be exporting energy. Now, the dependency on the import, the fuel, petroleum. Right now, the adaptation of electric vehicles are mostly in the passenger segment. Now, slowly, it's being trickled down to the public segment, like microbus and people carriers, yes. But now still it is more and more adaptations in public and special two-wheelers. Two-wheelers, the market size is around 150,000. I really believe that it has lots of opportunities to increase the penetration of new energy vehicle in two-wheeler segment. So going down maybe after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you'll see the impact in terms of import substitutions with the petroleum, impact in terms of the environment. So we have to trust the process. We have to trust the overall our long-term planning rather than going for this intuitive short-term hunch. I really believe that.
Market kotro sir, two-wheeler market?
It's around 150. I mean, generally in a good year. This is the last 2 years. It's been around that size.
It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, previously it was over 3 lakhs.
3 lakhs, give or take. So it's cut in half, or even less than that.
60% good contractions I bought.
Electric two-wheeler, my electric ko kati percent cha hola as a good in
8% last year.
Okay, that's
just around. But a lot of them are also push cycles. The one that is a moped, so it has pedals plus a battery sync. So if we just look at only EV scooters or motorbikes, it was actually closer, 8% total, let's say 6% was the overall thing, counting only scooters and above.
एचएस कोड एउटै हुन्छ हो त्यो इम्पोर्टमा
Similar.
म त्यही त
It's
मलाई
very
त्यो
simple.
थाहा
It's
थिएन
very
मलाई
difficult.
ए हो
भेरी
र
डिफिकल्ट इन नेपाल
The push pedals are counted as two-wheeler technically.
But you don't need to register them, do you?
Push pedals.
25 किलोमिटर भन्दा तलको
Yeah.
लागि रेजिस्ट्रेसन परेन नि
No,
होइन म यो क्ल्यारिफाई गर्छु 25 किलोमिटर पर आवर भन्दा
Yes.
तलको भेहिकल्सलाई होइन त
Yeah.
बट इट्स स्टिल काउन्टेड एज
Yeah,
द होल चङ्क
Right. So that generally comes in with that 8% is with that.
विदिन द त्यो पनि आयो यसमा होइन
होइन नेपालमा अलिक गाह्रो यस्तो पाराले नि गर्छ कि त्यो राइट प्लानिङ गर्न राइट अलिकति स्ट्राटेजिजहरू बनाउन उता इभन कम्युनिकेटिङ विथ द म्यानुफ्याक्चरर्स त्यो डाटाबेस राइट निकाल्न धेरै गाह्रो छ नेपालमा यु नो एचएस कोड फर द यु नो यो प्राइभेट भेहिकल्स रेट नम्बर प्लेट भेहिकल्स 8703 त्यसपछि त्यसमा सेग्रिगेसन हुन्छ त्यसले सेग्रिगेसन बट इभन इफ देयर यु नो फोर व्हिलर इज द ओरिजिनल सिटिङ capacity is below 11 seats, then it will also come in 8703 same HS code. But that vehicle is being used in the public sector. But in our government database, we have to show it as a passenger car.
म जोडिहाल्छु ल यसमा एउटा स्ट्रगल अघि न साइल वाज सेयरिङ विथ मी होइन कि हामीसँग कङ्क्रिट डेटा छैन भनेर कि कुन चाहिँ कसले कति बेचिरहेछ भनेर होइन
छैन
विदेशमा के हुन्छ ल विदेश छोडौँ सार्क नेसन्समै के हुन्छ
If you go to India, then there is association, उनीहरूको vehicle manufacturer, vehicle dealer association हुन्छ, and then they take out the database on registration, they take out the database on insurance, and they give you data. Okay, this month-on-month sales, year-on-year sales is this much. So that the customer, manufacturer, investors, every one in this system has a true knack of where the industry is heading toward.
Yeah.
नेपालमा अघि मैले भने इम्पोर्ट बेस्ड डाटाबेसहरू आउँछ इम्पोर्ट बेसमा आउँछ बट देन इम्पोर्ट बेसमै त्यहाँ अब कन्फ्लिक्ट छ कि लाइक आई सेड अघि 8703 मा इम्पोर्ट हुँदाखेरि त्यो चाहिँ प्यासेन्जर फोर व्हिलर भन्छ तर द्याट्स बिङ युज एज अ पब्लिक भेहिकल पब्लिक माइक्रोभ्यान्स यसमा चाहिँ
यो चाहिँ किन यस्तो भएको छ पहिलादेखि हामीले नगरे हो कि गर्न नचाह्यो हामीले
Categorization, I think, hasn't been given too much of a,
टु मच अफ साइन्टिफिक बेसिस त्यहाँ छैन सो
Right.
फर्स्ट फोर अफ एचएस कोड जुन 8703 भने द्याट इज सेग्रिगेटेड द्याट इज डिफ्रेन्सिएटेड बाई द वर्ल्ड कस्टम अर्गनाइजेसनले उनीहरूले असाइन गरे हुन्छ फर्स्ट देन त्यसपछिको चाहिँ लाइक त्यो आफ्नो कन्ट्रीको आफ्नो पोलिसी देशको आफ्नो पोलिसी अनुसार चाहिँ सेग्रिगेट जस्तै नेपालमा 0 to 50 50 to 100 भनेर सेग्रिगेट गरे हुन्छ बट देन त्यसमा पनि आई थिङ्क अलिक साइन्टिफिक बेसिसहरू एड गर्न अलिकति मोर प्र्याक्टिकल एभिन्युज प्र्याक्टिकल एस्पेक्टहरू ल्याउन जरुरी छ त्यसमा पनि सो द एट द इन्ड अफ डे कसलाई बेनिफिट सबै प्लेयरलाई बेनिफिट हुन्छ त्यहाँ चाहिँ गभर्मेन्टलाई पनि टु डाटा आउँछ हामी स्टेक होल्डर्सलाई टु डाटा आउँछ कस्टमरलाई टु एउटा ओरिएन्टेसन आउँछ त्यो छ
100% agree with you, I think. Even now that I'm fully in the two-wheeler segment as well, I think this one is a place where it gets really cloudy because the numbers are slightly larger. You can look at the import numbers very easily. You can know what's coming in and stuff. But the very difficult thing, like, our salespeople get called, how much do you sell today? And then it's not the government, it's not anyone, it's not customers, it's actually competitor brands calling us, saying, how much do you sell today? And to get the retail number, it's not like you can, even if you inflate it, what benefit do you have? Like in India, it's public news only. How much did Bajaj sell today? How much did Aether sell today? It's public news. Like, how does that hurt anyone by like allowing that data to go to the public?
So, हाम्रोमा चाहिँ चाहियो भने मोल गर्नु पर्यो ऱ्याट सिस्टम हो
That's the system we're
I'll go
rewarding.
blunt, boys. You know my style, होइन So, त्यो सिस्टम मात्र छ
सर्ट टाइममा त्यो फेब्रिकेटेड डाटाले एकछिन सर्ट टर्म बेनिफिट दिला कुनै कम्पनीलाई बट लङ टर्म इट वोन्ट हेल्प एनी वान के उसमा चाहिँ लङ टर्ममा इट वोन्ट हेल्प एनी वान त्यो फेब्रिकेटेड डाटा मेनिपुलेटेड डाटा उसमा चाहिँ एन्ड इट्स नट डिफिकल्ट टु गेट द डाटाबेस एक्चुली
ड्राई पोर्टमा कति आयो भनेर होइन सेल्सको भनाइ होइन तर इम्पोर्ट कति भयो भनेर ड्राई पोर्टमा त थाहा मेजोरिटी थाहा हुन्छ होला नि होइन
इम्पोर्ट बेसमा चाहिँ थाहा हुन्छ अहिले चाहिँ इम्पोर्ट बेसमा चाहिँ के भने डिपार्टमेन्ट अफ कस्टमले डाटा पब्लिस गर्छ अहिले चाहिँ ब्रान्ड वाइज गर्दैन तर टेन्टेटिभली तपाईँको त्यो एचएस कोड वाइज गर्छ तपाईँको जस्तै यो एचएस कोड अन्तर्गत यति इम्पोर्ट भयो भनेर त्यसरी गरेर थालेछ बट देन रिटेल वाइज चाहिँ देयर इज लाइक जस्ट अ म्यानुअल थिङ नाउ हाउ मच यु सेल अब कतिसम्म गर्छ भने रिटेल थिङ डाटाको लागि चाहिँ ल इम्पोर्ट डाटा त आछ अब कस्टमर यार्डमा कति गाडी बाँकी छ त ए भनेपछि यति रिटेल भयो भनेर त्यतिसम्म पनि हुन्छ लाइक म्यानुअल द्याट मच म्यानुअल इज इन राइट नाउ
फ्युचर के होस् भन्ने चाहना छ
होस् त आई थिङ्क राइट अब इन्स्टिट्युट्सहरूले चाहिँ यसलाई इनिसिएसन लिएर चाहिँ
नाडै त होला नि त नि भन्नु खोजे होइन
यस नाडा एउटा अब पार्ट भयो तपाईँको इभन अब यो गभर्मेन्ट बडिजहरू हुन्छ
डिपार्टमेन्ट कस्टम्स भयो सबै भयो
यो डिओटिएम जसले रेजिस्टर गर्छ ऊ गर्छ यिनीहरूले राइट इनिसिएसन लिएर चाहिँ यसलाई पब्लिस गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो चाहिँ आफ्नो एउटा थिङ्किङ हो
And NADA would be the perfect organization to just publish it every month to month, month to month.
Month to month,
Right.
also.
होइन त?
Month to month, yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Again,
I don't know.
Data they probably have to collect from the government bodies anyways. It'll be difficult for NADA to do it on their own.
Okay.
I think they would still need to collect it from DOTM office,
DOTM
right?
and office, registration office. And then our vehicle data is stored in this, we call it a ledger like Tattva. And then once the vehicle is imported, it has to be registered. And from the registration to the transfer, the first transfer is either to the end customer or either to the sub-dealers.
Right.
So in that way, it's not mountain of tax, but they can do that.
भन्न खोजा ट्रान्सपेरेन्ट होस् मात्र भन्न खोजा हो
Yes.
And another thing that we've been trying to find out as well, like, so you asked the question, how many Toyotas are there? I wish it was easy to know. We've been actually working to find out the UIO, which is the units in operation, for a really long time. But we've figured out the task is literally beyond us in that sense, where we have to manually go to every registration office, ask them, okay, renewal kati bhayo Toyota ko ispali, kun gadi ko bhayo. So, and there's many registration offices throughout the country, right? Because we've been operating throughout the country for 57 years. It'll be very difficult to try and go to every single office and say how many renewed this year. So that's something that I think that all they have to do is publish it. Again, it's not going to hurt anyone.
Yes.
It's not. I think it's going to be more for benefit for everyone.
Rather, it will help, I think.
Yeah,
if you
it'll
got the
help a
data,
lot.
how many Toyotas are renewed, then they can plan for the good after-sale service.
Data.
Because this much that are renewed. So,
Whoa, यो चाहिँ मेरो लागि चाहिँ it's anyways we have our own troubles in my part of the world right? In what we do right? Because we don't have clean data right? At least my data is very transparent that every Tom, Dick and Harry can के भनेको थियो अघि न एलेक्सामा गरेर मिल्छ भनेको थियो
but then that metrics अब युट्युबको तपाईँको यो अनलाइनको साइट्स भिजिटरको
take it mine is there I know exactly how many people I am watching give me advertisement according to that I will not lie I will not cheat I will not say anything else at least I get to see that I'll come to a few questions that I had written previously होइन can we हामीले okay elephant in the room है त एउटा आइस गाडी खरिद गर्नलाई मलाई डाउन पेमेन्ट कति गर्नुपर्छ आजको दिनमा गिभ अर टेक
50%.
50% होइन एउटा इभी खरिद गर्नलाई मलाई डाउन पेमेन्ट कति पर्छ
20%.
इभी त बेच्यौँ हामीले मान्छेले किस्ता तिर्न सक्छ होला
I think buying decision, we have to trust the customer's consciousness. The buying vehicles like BYD vehicle, let's say, price point of 41 lakh, 57 lakh, 68 lakh, they won't buy without, calculation. They won't buy without a simple calculation. So even the vehicle in Nepal is, along with the mobility, it's also the status symbol as well in Nepal. So every customer, I really believe that they have their own consciousness when they made a decision to purchase the vehicle. Next is maybe the 1 year is good, second year not good. So at that time there might be a problem. There might be a problem when the things are going haywire. But in my experience in last 6-7 years, त्यस्तो बिग्रेको मैले देखेको छैन किनभने सबैले एउटा कन्सियसनेसले किन्छ they do their own fair share of calculation, they have their own plannings and all. So I don't really think that किस्ता तिर्न सक्छ कि सक्दैन is the prime question.
Right now? Okay, well, this is something that we've been talking about, right? Outside the realm of people who sell vehicles or sell anything, right? किन्न त हामी 20% मा लिएर खरिद गरिरहेछौँ कसैले गाडी किनिरहेछ भने आजको दिनमा सोच्नु त सोध्छ उसले आई कम्प्लिटली अग्री विथ यू होइन कि 80% आई विल पे रिगार्डलेस अफ हाउ इट वाज विल दे बी एबल टु पे और नट इज द क्वेसन दैट आई एम आस्किङ होइन इन दिस इकोनोमी राइट बिकज देयर आर लट अफ पिपल हु आर बाइङ 20% डाउन गरेर होइन मेरै साथीभाइहरू पनि होइन दे बाइङ इट लेफ्ट राइट एन्ड सेन्टर राइट I know, obviously.
It won't be easy to buy from 20%. The bank will do your thorough due diligence. Bank will do your screening. Can he
or she,
with the guarantees that they take, cumulatively they can pay or not. They can pay or not. Overall, industry NPA, non-performing asset, is around 3 to 4%. Means that you can adjust these buyers into somehow less than being 3 to 4% defaulters. So bank will do their due diligence as well. It's not easy. Okay, I just pay 20%, I get a car. No, you have to do all the process to get the loans from bank.
I think financial institutions are the ones who really do that's not completely in our hands. Right. At the end of the day, if the customer gets a loan, they get a loan. If they don't, they don't. But I think the way that the banks are working, at least with four-wheelers, I know it's been working the same way for quite some time now. Looking at least two-wheelers, consumer financing is pretty much, I'll say it, is non-existent.
What's with yours? 20% too? With Aether as well?
Aether, it depends. So banks don't finance. They do against a credit card or hire purchase. Hire purchase is 16%, 18%.
Okay.
It's very hard. What we've realized in Aether is it's so difficult that people want to finance it. The whole point is to make it easy on cash flow for the customer and just pay over time. And that's the reason that they take interest in everything. It's quite underdeveloped in that sense where I feel like there's a lot of improvement required in this segment when it comes to at least two-wheelers consumer financing. It's very difficult, actually.
I'd heard about the challenges. Okay, please share.
It's a little bit like, for example, someone comes and wants to buy an Aether, says, I want to finance it. We give them the option saying, okay, we have this credit card scheme, whatever. Because we don't have a financing license, right? So once they do that, they apply. It takes around 2 months to get a credit card. And that time, they're like, okay, I don't want the scooter anymore. Why should you wait 2 months for something that you want today? And for me also, like, for example, for Aether to say, okay, please, Mr. Customer, take it. Or Mr. and Mrs. Customer, please take it. We're not assured that that person's going to get approved by the bank.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit different because they do it against the credit cards a little bit different. Even their capacity of their down payment actually is very variable depending on what the bank decides. Now, finally, we've tied up with a hire purchase company, but even then we see that it's very quick comparatively. But I would still say, there's a lot of benefit that they're taking as well.
How is it going to be easier for you in the coming years? What should happen?
To be honest, I feel like, in my mind, in my opinion, I feel like there should be a little bit more competition, and also it should be focused on what makes it easier for people to purchase.
Yeah.
That's the institutions are set up to make purchasing a little bit easier, to offset time, to be able to amortize an item and say, I'll pay over time. That's the reason that these institutions exist. So it's important for them to take a step back. Let's say NRB has to take a look at their policy also and say, is it easy for a customer to purchase, let's say, a necessity? You don't buy a mobility solution for fun. You have to go to work every day. You have to go eat somewhere. You have to go outside. Grocery stores doesn't come to your house. Not yet. To that level. It will, for sure. Not to the extent yet. People need it. People need mobility. It's a necessity. It can't be so hard to purchase. And yes, I am saying that with our price points being at the higher end. That's where I feel like it's actually more of a requirement for people to be able to purchase our products.
यो यही कन्भर्सेसन गरिरहेको बेलामा कि होइन आई होप इट रियली हुन्छ नि इज इजियर किनभने 1 रुपियाँमा पनि लिन मिल्छ कि होइन अब यो कुन देश भनेर नभनौँ होइन बट यु क्यान सिम्पली गो एन्ड इफ द ड्यु डिलिजेन्स इज डन यु क्यान इजिली गो एड एन्ड बाई समथिङ सेम राइट एट द स्पट हुन्छ नि तर यो ग्रेजुअली हुन्छ होइन मैले किन यो एउटा सोची पनि रह्यो हो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ खरिद गर्न सजिलो त हुनुपर्छ होइन तर कतिले आफ्नो एपेटाइट नभएर पनि खरिद गरेर हो कि जस्तो पनि मलाई फिलिङ आइरहेछ कि होइन आई कम टु द सेकेन्ड पोइन्ट आफ्टर सेल्स के हुन्छ के अरे वन्स यु सेल यो भेहिकल आफ्टर अ स्प्यान अफ सम टाइम होइन आई गिभ यु एक्जाम्पल लास्ट नाइट आई वाज लुकिङ एट अ वेबसाइट वेयर अ लट अफ फ्रेन्ड्स सेल देयर भेहिकल्स होइन इभीको केसमा के हुन्छ होला
Okay, So used vehicle को प्राइस तपाईको जस्तै
त्यो मार्केट अहिलेसम्म त्यो छर्लङ्ग भएको छैन
छैन
हैन रिसेल भ्याल्युको केसमा
resale value. So what are the key variables that determines the resale value of the product? Number one, EV र non-EV पछि जान्छु. Number one is market demand and supply. Yes, so if the demand is higher, then of course the resale value will be strong as well. The second is at the time the contemporary other products like let's say if after 5 years there are some other technologies like hydrogen cars, then of course that will also impact the resale value. So in case of Nepal right now, I think the adaptations of EV is increasing and will increase in further as well, unless and until there is major policy disruptions. So adaptation will increase of the EV will increase, meaning that market demand will keep on increasing. And the second thing is we are seeing the progressive taxation from the government side. We are saying the progressive tax, not the drastic or very big change, but the progressive taxation change from the government. And I think given the technology, the cost of technology is somehow on a decreasing trend. I mean, the cost of batteries, cost of this other components is decreasing. Maybe that is what been reciprocated in the tax structure. So number one is the demand. Number two is the price points because of the taxation and the cost of technology going down. So it will remain stable. So I really believe that from now on the resale value of EV won't be so much like haywire. It is going up, down. It won't be like that. It should be stable. It should be stable next 5 years, at least in Nepal, because it's demand driven. And second is the stability because of the decreasing price and progressive taxation, decreasing price in production and progressive taxation. So it should be stable. I really believe that.
Fair enough. We will find out over time. किनभने आजसम्म पनि सबसे बेस्ट ऊ भए त टोयोटै हो यहाँ मुसु हाँस्दैछु
अनि एउटा अब इभीको नेपालमा साइकल पनि जान्छ. इट्स नट लाइक वी से ओके 8 years इज द ब्याट्री वारेन्टी. वाट ह्यापन्स आफ्टर द 8 years एज द ब्याट्री वारेन्टी त्यो पनि होइन. वाट वी गिभ इन द वारेन्टी एज फर BYD फर अस इज द डेप्थ अफ डिस्चार्ज इज म्याक्सिमम 30%, meaning that our warranty covers that your battery will remain at least 70% at the end of 8 years. It's not like your battery is gone after 8 years.
So आज कसैले 2024 मा खरिद गरिरहेछ भने 2030 मा 70% मात्र 30% मात्र डिप्लिट पाए हुन्छ.
म्याक्सिमम त्यो पनि
डिप्लिट भन्न मिल्छ नि हैन?
मिल्छ. म्याक्सिमम 2024 किनेछ नि 2032 मा म्याक्सिमम 30% मात्र हुन्छ. यति भन्दा बढी छ नि you will get covered in the warranty.
8 वर्षमा सरी मैले 6 वर्ष भनेछु.
You will get covered in warranty. So that is the core strength. So cycle ni battery cycle ni for us BYD blade batteries 4000 cycle bhanchau हामी. That means that 4000 cycle you can calculate in simple way 400 kilometer in watt charge. So 4000 means it's 16 lakh kilometer. That is the battery life we're talking about here. So अहिले चाहिँ मान्छे के भयो भने जस्तै अब टोयोटा र एनी आइस भेहिकल त सेन्चुरी देखि नै त्यसको लाइफ साइकल त क्याल्कुलेटिभ छ. तर इभी को त भर्खर आइरहेछ. EV को किनभने हार्डली very few EVs in mass market that has crossed the, especially in Nepal, 8 वर्षको त्यो ब्याट्री वारेन्टी साइकल. सो त्यो हुँदाखेरि मान्छे स्पेकुलेटिभ मार्केटमा छ. दे आर स्पेकुलेटिङ इभीको त त्यो रिसेल घटिरहेको छ भनेर चाहिँ त्यो स्पेकुलेट गरिरहेको छ. बट देन आफ्टर 8 years किनभने 2015 वाज द फर्स्ट वेन वी इम्पोर्टेड द
कति लाख परेको थियो E6 त्यतिखेर बेच्दाखेरि कति पर्थ्यो कन्ज्युमरलाई?
द एमआरपी अफ 85 lakhs एट द टाइम.
85 लाखमा बिक्यो त्यो E6.
85 लाखमा एमआरपी त हाल्यो तर बिकाइ चाहिँ 85 मा होइन.
कतिमा?
आई थिङ्क वी सोल्ड एट ओके हाम्रो एभ्री इयर सबै त्यति बेलाको मार्केटिङ बजेट नै पुल गर्नु परेको थियो. त्यति लोमा हामीले बेचेको थियो. वी सोल्ड एट 55 लाख.
55 होइन एज अ रिसेल मार्केटमा एउटा E6 हेर्दाखेरि 27, 28, 29 त्यति नै रहेछ.
फर्स्ट चाहिँ E6
होला मोस्ट प्रब्ली होइन. मैले कतै न कतै 27 हो कि 28 त्यस्तै कति थियो होइन?
इट्स नट ट्रेडेड विथ अस.
त्यो मैले कतै न कतै देखाएको थियो होइन.
सो 8 years अगाडि माई पोइन्ट इज नाउ त्यो 2015 ल्याएको फर्स्ट गाडी हामीले द फर्स्ट भेहिकल द्याट वी इम्पोर्ट इन 2015 फर्स्ट जेन E6 द्याट भेहिकल इज सर्भिङ एज आवर RSA भेहिकल. सो द्याट्स अ टेस्टिमेन्ट टु द इभी टेक्नोलोजी टु BYD. 8 वर्ष कटिसक्यो. 15 मा ल्याएको 23 मा 8 वर्ष हुन्थ्यो. यसमा गएर चाहिँ
How much did we sell the, again, putting you in the spot, फेरि होइन हाइलक्स कति पर्थ्यो होला 2000s मा आउँदाखेरि त्यो पुरानो त्यो टाइगरहरू छ नि कि so again, I'm putting you in the spot. Why I'm saying this? Because I saw an old tiger that I wanted to buy. And it's still, I'll throw this out. Don't, we'll figure out the number. As a पनि 18-20 लाख रुपियाँमा बेचिरहेछ कि होइन 25 वर्ष 26 वर्ष पुरानो गाडी होइन म किनु कि जस्तो पनि थियो कि होइन if I had the money I'd love to buy that car हुन्छ नि because such a fantastic car. It'll still run मात्र होइन it'll still go take me to places के त्यो रिलायबिलिटी चाहिँ टोयोटाले पाएकोमा चाहिँ होइन ह्याट्स अफ टु टोयोटा फर द्याट हाम्रो देशमा स्पेसली के
Right, absolutely. I think it shocks me sometimes, the second-hand market here.
छक्क पर्छु के म
When I go on, similar sites that you were on, I go quite often because I'm a very big fanatic of older cars as well. Looking at the resale value that some of the Toyotas have on that is just astounding sometimes because we know that sometimes with some tax increment unsa, the taxes actually they're selling for more than what they bought it for.
Exactly.
It's like an investment that's paying back over the couple of years. And I think that's the, again, USP being reliability. And I think you're absolutely right. I think reliability is very difficult to prove before it happens.
It's going to take time.
Right. It takes time for the EV market as well because I think looking at it, let's just say a lot of new entrants are coming in a lot cheaper. The reason people buy second-hand is generally they don't want to pay as much as showroom price tags. And when they look in the in the second-hand market, it should be lower than what's available new in the market, technically.
Agreeing with both of you on this, I'll jump into two-wheeler, I'll jump into a Honda motorcycle that I was looking into buying. I love the old, the new Hondas, I can't even afford that right now. And then I looked at an old one, I'm like, oh my God. यो त त्यो व्यक्तिले मोस्ट प्रब्ली योभन्दा कम पैसामा खरिद गरेको होला होइन 30 वर्ष अगाडि आज त्योभन्दा धेरैमा छ होइन सो जस्ट लुकिङ एट द्याट कि त्यो रिलायबिलिटी एस्पेक्टमा चाहिँ र अघि नै ब्याङ्किङको केसमा मैले भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ ड्यु डिलिजेन्स चाहिँ भएको छ छैन त्यो अभियसली मैले गाडी किन्न जाँदाखेरि मलाई थाहा होला होइन तर बरु 0%मा दिदियो होइन मैले भन्न खोजेको कुरा किनभने मैले अरू देशमा देखाएको छु यो होइन त्यो ड्यु डिलिजेन्सबाट राम्रो गरेर 0%मा किन नहोस् डाउन द रोड मात्र भन्न खोजेको हो कि मैले अघिको केसमा चाहिँ अभियसली आई वान्ट मोर पिपल टु बाई इभिज त्यसमा त आइएम प्रो इभिज अन दिस नो डाउट अन द्याट मोर इभिज we're going to have less reliant we're going to be in petroleum and more we're going to go ahead and use our own energy. I come from a time when bloody I had to study and give SLC in 18 घण्टाको load shedding ma हैन so as a batti आउँदाखेरि त who's going to be I'm more than merrier on this हैन and I'm more excited to see Toyota do more things with BYD or do more things in electric vehicles हैन what's the future I know that you've studied way more than me on this हैन यो हाइड्रोजनको कुरा चाहिँ के हो खास
Sure. I think when we look at Toyota and hydrogen development also, there's something that Akio Toyoda, which is the ex-CEO, took a very big stance saying, okay, hybrid and hydrogen. I think his whole philosophy, and I'm quite on board with it, is, again, going for a diversified portfolio. You need different things for different things. It's kind of like a balanced diet. It's like you have to have a little bit of saag, chicken, dal, aloo, sapai, instead of just relying on just one source of mobility as well. So I think what his intention was to completely diversify and give people an alternate to just battery electric. So I'd say there's fuel cell technology.
Exactly.
Fuel cell technology is a little bit more of a chemical reaction that happens, and you fuel up with hydrogen. And then basically your emissions is water. So that's one way. The only thing with that is because it hasn't hit economies of scale, it's still very expensive technology, and especially hydrogen harnessing is also quite difficult. But Toyota is actually, this is me speaking about Toyota because I know the most about the brand. They're working on hydrogen combustion engines as well, which is creating some excitement. They had a 1.5 liter hydrogen combustion engine that they put in a race car in the same body of a GR Corolla, which is one of my dream cars. But And they actually had really good results where their power output was almost matching their internal combustion engines when it came to petroleum products as well. Looking at that, when you look at hydrogen and the development, I think the infrastructure is required when it comes to hydrogen generation, but it could be the future as well.
Why I'm touching base on this, because one of my first guests, I know, मेरो सबसे first top 10 guests मै काठमाडौँ युनिभर्सिटीबाट चाहिँ एकजना प्रोफेसर साइन्टिस्ट आउनु भएको थियो होइन, one of my top 10 guests होइन. त्यतिखेर कहिले कल्पना पनि न उहाँले गर्नुभएको थियो, न प्रब्ली केयुले गरेको थियो, न मैले गरेको थिएँ कि आजको दिनमा हामी काठमाडौँ युनिभर्सिटी एन्ड ओभरअल होइन विल हेभ अ भेहिकल. There you go, that's Biraj, that's Dr. Biraj होइन. And this is the vehicle, and of course we are also, small nation like ours is also in the forefront of when it comes to at least having a conversation about hydrogen, and also moving ahead and having a car that's gonna run on hydrogen. Okay, no? So we might be able to harness it, we might have that, we might work on that technology down the road. So that's something that if the world is looking into it, maybe we'll be one of the first adapters of
Yeah,
it. Okay?
I think India is one of the heaviest investors in hydrogen. I think that's also a very geopolitical move by them because, again, lithium is pretty much owned, 70% of lithium mines in the world are owned by China. So I think looking at India co-alternative, how they want to be a little bit more relevant in the mobility scope is investing heavily in an alternate solution. It's not, again, they're not saying that they don't want lithium. It's just that saying that there are alternatives that can be very, very clean. I think when you look at the production of a hydrogen self vehicle and look at the well to tank, so basically from the creation, from mining to everything, it's actually a very clean method of producing a car. And then after that, obviously driving, and when your only emissions being water, it's a very clean ecosystem that you're developing. But I think the Mirai is something in Toyota that's always interested me. I would love to drive one as well. I've tried it out, but I think it won't be able to happen in a single push. I think multiple people will have to be working towards bringing this and making it a reality here, because it has so many industries that are required to come in and work together to kind of go into the future of hydrogen.
Completely agreeing with you, and we will be one of the first adapters of it. Okay, होइन त्यो हाम्रो त्यो देखाइसक्यो नि त अब होइन, BYD has already shown it to us that we as Nepalis we will adapt it.
Right.
No, I met Biraj sir like a month ago, and I drove that car. I drove that. It was really fantastic car, and what he said me was really something that inspired me as well. He said that if you know there is a right support from the government bodies and also some other stakeholders, like those who are into this industry, like Hyundai is into this, Toyota is in this industry, so there might be a very good opportunity for us to adopt into this hydrogen powered vehicles. And it's also it's not only about adapting to the hydrogen powered vehicles, but it's also about showcasing that we are the early adopter of the technology as well. So he was very excited, and he led a team of some young people who were working not only with this mobility segment with the hydrogen, but other segment with the hydrogen as well. And it was very much me being a graduate, alumni from the Kathmandu University. It was very much exciting for me to see the progression here, and that's when we recently tied up with the Kathmandu University as well. So I think we are tied up with the Kathmandu University, where we are taking the students as a intern, not only in Nepal, but India and China as well. India and China as well, the opportunities with the BYD.
How is BYD doing in India?
BYD there, because the price point in India is expensive, and it falls on the expensive side. So on that segment, they are doing okay, but in terms of overall market, they are yet to hit the top gear.
Canadaले 100% tax लगायो होइन यो चाइनिज भेहिकल्समा हो. चाइनिज भेहिकल्स भनेको के भन्यो क्यानाडाले?
Yes, they said that the purely manufactured Chinese vehicle will leave it to the 100% tax. Europeमा पनि I think now they have this 30% tax base छ. अहिले USमा पनि 100% tax base छ. So for me it would be very easy to comment as a geopolitical things or any other things, but things will be, I really believe, way deep than that. So they are maybe the European, they are asking the Chinese to invest a plant.
Canada hits China-made electric cars with 100% tariff, right?
Yes. It's just 2 days ago news, yeah, I think.
So obviously अब म DRC-तिर जान्न होइन म अफ्रिकातिर जान्न होइन तर एउटा स्पेसिफिक कुरा चाहिँ मलाई के गर्नु मन थियो भन्दाखेरि अस्ति मैले यो टच गरेको थिएँ होइन अनि प्लिज जम्प इन टु दिस विथ वाट ब्याट्री द्याट Aether has as well होइन what exactly is this lithium ion blade battery okay? What exactly is this and how is it different from everything else okay?
Okay, the lithium ion blade battery is
Am I saying it correct? I
think you're not saying entirely wrong, but then this is how it goes.
Okay.
Lithium is the chemical, right? It's a core composition of the battery. Lithium is battery. And then there are different chemical composition associated with lithium, like lithium iron phosphate. Lithium iron phosphate only there. Then there is the lithium is associated nickel, cobalt, magnesium, NCM battery. So these are the chemical composition of battery and it has different characteristics. Like NCM battery, their energy density is very, very high. So less kilowatts capacity, NCM battery can give more power than the LFP battery, lithium ion batteries. But then the charge cycle of NCM batteries will be less while the charge cycle of LFP batteries will be more. So it has own characteristics. Now coming to the blade battery, the most advanced battery, we call it the BYD blade battery. It's actually a shape. The whole LFP battery, the chemical is same, but then it's shaped into the blade. So from there is a cell at the initial level.
You
see the blade.
This
shape.
is the one?
Yeah, the shape. You can see.
So one blade is one specific one. So एउटा बिग्रियो भने त्यो निकालेर अर्को हाल्दिन मिल्छ. Okay.
So actually the in battery ma ke huncha bhane there will be start from the battery whole pack चाहिँ segregated normal conventional batteries segregated into Sano cell, then from cell to module, then module to the battery pack. So this is the whole part of the.
So मेरो फोनमा एउटा ब्लेड छ भनौं न त्यस्तै त
होइन तपाईको फोनमा whole battery pack छ.
Whole battery pack छ.
त्यसमा सानो सेल छ मोड्युल हुन्छ मोड्युल टु अनि ब्याट्री प्याक भन्छ तपाईको चाहिँ.
So BYD pioneered this.
BYD pioneered. BYD is the only manufacturer of blade battery right now. Blade is a shape actually.
So it's just the way generally it's packaged because traditionally, like if you look at Tesla and most of the world other than BYD, I think they use single cells, which pretty much looks very close to a AA battery.
Okay.
And they just put many into modules and then you could put multiple modules to make a battery pack as well. So I think that's very similar to what this is, but it's packaged very differently.
No, now sorry, what is this?
No modules.
No modules. It's a cell to pack.
Right.
It's cell to pack. Yeah.
So you say oilego. This is the new one. What exactly is this? No, this is the old one. Okay, this is the old one. And then go back to the other picture. And this is the new one.
Right.
This is the blade one.
This is the blade thing. It's a blade shape. There is no module from cell to pack itself directly.
So if we just go back 1 second.
Sorry.
The old one, eh? So you can see there's many different packs.
Yeah.
Like there's different like boxes.
AA batteries.
So it's basically AA batteries, something that looks like it is inside this. And it's a combination of these packs that make the whole battery pack. So in BYD, you don't have the cells
modules with it.
Yeah. What do we do with Aether?
Aether is actually
if you don't mind me asking.
No. It's the cells to a battery pack. And actually it's one of the leading battery technology in India when it comes to mobility as well. Looking at the, I think you were saying the 70% depletion as well. So we have a guarantee as well. Like within 5 years, if you reduce beneath 70%, we replace it free of cost and under warranty and everything. And one thing that was really interesting, Asti, we went to the community day, which is basically like their big once a year event. At Bangalore.
Oh.
The very interesting piece of data that the founder Tarun showed was the average battery life of a 5-year-old Aether, which was the first Aether that was first built, average was 90%. So looking at the depletion and the degradation of the battery was around only 10%. And I think it's super interesting because I think the battery technology is also ever developing and there's so many new avenues going forward. I think BYD being at the forefront is super interesting. That's why I think it's important to even look at Toyota when they're doing their development right now. A large promise that they've made is working on solid-state batteries.
Yes.
And solid-state batteries claims that they're making is around 1,200 kilometers range and potentially charge times under 5 minutes to get 1,200 kilometers.
I really know that both of you need to go. होइन बुझ्छु म नाडा जानु छ भनेर 9 लाख किलोमिटर गुडेको टोयोटा
Yes.
कुन चाहिँ
Highest.
9 lakhs.
He doesn't stop driving.
He's sleeping in the car. Whoever it is. 9 lakhs.
Yeah. So that's the highest that I've seen recently. So yeah, I actually did a lot of research to see does this break any record. Unfortunately, maybe within Nepal, because even considering we don't have that much space to drive in, that's considerably high.
9 lakh.
Yeah.
Engine ke थियो?
It's the 1GD. It's the 4-cylinder diesel engine.
And have you guys opened it a few times already? 9 lakh भनेपछि त थियो होला नि हैन?
Unfortunately, highest ko not everyone comes to us only. They go everywhere. So we don't have full history. But this person actually, he has 16 highesses. Yes, thank you so much. He has 16 highesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the highest keeps on running, हैन?
Right.
हाम्रो केसमा BYD को हैन, even though it's just been 9 years, हैन?
Yes. The highest we had, I think it was the last one data, it's like 1,25,000.
1,25,000 गुडाइसक्यो?
That's amazing.
त्यो त धेरै हो नि त्यो त कहाँ यही काठमाडौँमै?
I think he Kathmandu, and that guy is also frequent traveler. He has multiple business in different parts of Nepal. And then he tried. I thought what he said to me was, because it saved me so much money now, even everything, everywhere he wants to use that.
Ato होइन नि?
Ato. First चाहिँ E6 नै हो.
E6 नै होला नि हैन? यत्रो पुग्यो भने चाहिँ Ato पनि गुडिसक्यो होला नि हैन? सुरुमा किन्नेहरुले त
Ato पनि I have seen Ato with around 40,000 plus. It's been 2 years. I've seen with 40,000 plus Ato.
Damn, that's a lot, हैन? The most sold Toyota car in Nepal?
Over the last couple of years has been the Hilux, for sure. Prados sell quite aggressively as well, quite surprisingly. Before that, there used to be a lot of, the Corollas and Novas. Looking at the Fortuner's done really well here. Surprisingly, the Land Cruiser 300 did really well. Like I think we were speaking about, there was a pent-up demand after COVID, and that's when the Land Cruiser 300 series had come out and did decent actually. But I mean, obviously, for us, because we're playing in a different segment and a different price range itself, but the numbers are not the highest. Like, let's just say, I think around 220 units of Hiluxes is what we do annually. Yeah.
Not like 4,000, 3,000.
But that's 200, 300 Hilux for 57 years. Not 57 years, but maybe 30, 40 years.
Yeah, why is it, हैन? किन चाहिँ सबै के भन्छ गाडीहरुको नाम के हैन? अघि नै हामीले टच बेस गर्दै थियौ नि हैन? के रे डल्फिन भयो, Ato भयो, what was the other one? Seal भयो, हैन?
Sea Lion.
Sea Lion. Why are the names accordingly?
So BYD has, in BYD China system, there are 4 main series. One is Ocean series. So Ocean series ma चाहिँ Dolphin, Seal, and design language अलिअलि inspired छ त्यो vehicle बाट. If you check Dolphin तपाईको Dolphin को अगाडिको headlight को त्यो जुन shape छ अलिकति Dolphin shape दिन खोजेको छ. Seal मा पनि कुनै elements हरु छ त्यस्तो खाले. Sea Lion 07 is also the upscale model in this Ocean series भयो. Then अर्को series है Dynasty series छ. Dynasty series मा चाहिँ तपाईको अरू range of vehicle पर्छ. Especially Dynasty series is more popular in China. त्यसपछि गएर BYD को अर्को सब ब्रान्ड चाहिँ Fenching Bao भन्ने छ. Bao is I think in Bao 5 means Leopard 5 in त्यो चाहिँ Formula Bao भन्छ उनीहरुले चाहिँ. So that's based on the अलिकति aggressiveness, अलिकति characteristic of vehicle लाई चाहिँ त्यो Bao Leopard जस्तै determine गर्छ. अर्को Denza भन्ने series छ. Denza is more also in upstream segment छ. So BYD has named this vehicle as per its characteristic mostly. That's what they like to do. And अर्को चाहिँ Dynasty series मा चाहिँ फेरि तपाईको चाहिँ उनीहरुको आफ्नो हिस्ट्री लाइक रुलरको हिस्ट्री धान टान त्यस्तो खाले बढी त्योबाट डिराइभ गरेको छ BYD को साइडबाट चाहिँ.
अब के आउँदैछ? What next do you guys have?
We have M6 7-seater that's coming in the market for this year. M6.
Check it out, BYD M6.
Yes.
I want to see it too. 7-seater?
7-seater, yes.
Slightly bigger?
Slightly bigger. We'll be catering mostly to B2B with this vehicle.
Is it more like an MPV?
It's like
SUV?
MPV, yeah.
Okay,
It's like MPV.
Okay.
Yeah, this is.
Got it.
Interior, is it black or not?
I think there's black.
I'm sure you get black. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yesterday, obviously, we were sitting with, BYD and Toyota, but I'll touch base into some other car. He's made a video. I think MG le एउटा नयाँ गाडी Cyberster भन्ने ल्याएर रहेछ. The interior looked really nice.
Yes.
मैले त्यो के भन्छ त्यसलाई, what's called the display was like a curved display हेरेको थिएँ कि हैन. And some time ago I sat in a Lamborghini. Jesus. Oh man, it's something else, right? So when it comes to like that end of car, I believe Bugatti would be like completely different. Right? Have you sat in a Bugatti?
Never.
Have you?
No.
You guys keep going to Shenzhen, I'm sure there's like tons of Bugattis.
I've been to the showroom, but
not inside. I'm sure that would look. Yeah,
Closest to the auto show, yeah.
What's the most expensive car? Isn't it Bugatti?
It's the La Noir Voiture something. It just means the Black Knight, if I'm not wrong, or the black car.
The Bugatti ko?
Bugatti, but I mean, in auction, it's technically a Mercedes. It's an auction.
I know which one you're talking about. हेर त एकपल्ट त्यो कस्तो देख्दो रहेछ है, the cockpit of a Bugatti.
You have to look at the Bugatti Tourbillon.
That's
that's the newest one.
Yeah.
It's
something else, eh?
It's weird, but it's crazy.
I can't even pronounce this car company's name.
Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg, होइन? Shit, that one looks nice too.
That's one of my favorite, dream car.
That one looks nice too. हेर त एकपल्ट Bugatti go. I want to really see it.
Tourbillon, yeah. I can't spell it either. Google will do the rest.
It's a consumer thing, yeah. But I am still like a old, not because you are here, right? I've said this multiple times. I'm like still a old Hilux, with knobs and with the whole bloody thing. Interior,
So this was actually designed and inspired by a watch.
Yeah.
And the middle center console, actually, it doesn't move with the steering wheel, so it's fixed.
Everything is digital, right?
No, this one is fairly analog, surprisingly.
This reminds me like of a Russian MiG.
This is a fighter jet.
Looks like a bloody fighter jet, no?
Yeah.
Holy shit, this looks cool. This is real, eh?
Yeah. They just launched this.
Man, this looks nice.
Sold out already, unfortunately.
I'm sure. Your favorite interior of one of your cars? If you had to pick one?
That's a tough question. I like the classic again. I really like, the bench style seats and everything, where everything was just cushion and fluff. But I think the Century, if you look at the old one, they had such an interesting feature where you could, because the VIP generally sits in the back seat and behind the passenger seat. So what they would do is there was a section where you could pull out from the front seat and actually have a bed. You could put your feet through in a Toyota Century. It's so cool.
Which Toyota Century purano भनेपछि कति पुरानो? How old should we go?
This, if you just search up like interior and then / like seat hole.
Let's check it out. Toyota Century. This is such a funny thing. I really want to say this. मैले यो बच्चा त आफूले भनेपछि याद आयो कि हैन, मैले यो अरु कुनै देशमा कहीँ मैले देखाएको थिएन कि हैन, probably I haven't been to many countries होला. When I was in Japan, when we were in Kyoto, taxi रोक्यो के हामीले हैन, टोकियोमा चाहिँ हामीले ट्याक्सी ल्याएको थिएन हैन, अनि क्योटोमा ट्याक्सी लियो हामीले हैन. Still old cars,
Crown, yeah.
हैन, Crown हैन, पुरानै. Drivers still, they look fabulous, very well dressed, होइन. हाम्रोमा चाहिँ त्यो ब्लाइन्ड्स पनि त्यो कपडाको थियो कि, अनि बेस्ट पार्ट वाज टक्क खै उनीहरूले बटन थिच्यो होला होइन, and the car door opened by itself के.
All the taxis have that.
Bro, I loved it. That was like my favorite thing. I believe Japanese etiquette all that. It was
Absolutely.
fabulous to still see them driving. I believe that's an old car.
Yeah,
I don't think त्यो नयाँ गाडी हो त्यो.
It was actually up until recently. I'm not entirely sure, but it's in 2010, 2015 they discontinued it. They were actually making it classic for that, but now they started converting. Toyota now is going a lot in the taxi industry in Japan. It's now looking a little bit more like the London cabs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next time I go, I'm gonna look out for that. But I was like amazed at that. Got the Toyota Century भनेर देखाउ त सबैजनालाई. I really want to see this, and this is like interior गर त यो त exterior भयो हैन.
Yeah, and it's the older ones. Oh, in the second photo there you can see the back seat opens up actually, but पहिला चाहिँ
स्वाट भित्रसम्म.
the whole thing used to become a hole, and you could put your feet completely through. There must be another photo of this thing.
Man, this is luxury to the next level.
For
त्यो
sure.
तलको त्यो त्यो त 2018.
Oh, here, right there.
तल अझ तल जाऊ.
On the bottom left of left side of the screen, the seat back left.
लेफ्ट अझ तल जाऊ त.
हजुर त्यसको तल.
त्यो रातो चाहिँ छ नि.
अँ.
Oh, यो चाहिँ यो. Look at the buttons and the knobs.
It's so Japanese of having this technology in a car, but it's awesome.
Sorry to say, man, reminds me of the Japanese toilet that I have.
Even that is the best technology.
I don't know what to press. It sings, tato, हुन्छ, spray, butt spray, bro, I loved it.
Oh, I think that's one technology. It's beautiful over there.
Oh my God, this is fantastic. Okay, now elephant in the room, right? There's something that I've always wanted to ask the person behind BYD, and since you are that right here, please answer me this. First time मैले एटो चढ्दाखेरि त्यो तलको त्यो तीनटा स्ट्रिङ चाहिँ के को लागि हो त्यो? Like, please tell me, because my head hasn't been able to wrap around that.
So, the design story, the design language behind the Ocean series was when Wolf Egger, I think he used to be previously designer for Mercedes, those German brands. So when we entered the BYD, I was just reading his story. He said that now I have to, infuse the contemporary design from the Western market with the Chinese element. That was his first idea. And second, what he said was, now when you say about the EVs, then EVs represents the new, something more modern, rather than something more box or classical. So what we said with the Ather, how we conceptualized Ather was, he wanted it something to be funky, something to be futuristic, yet the people would enjoy it. So he used two elements as per him. He said one is the sporty. So there is not only the string, but also the, if you see the AC knobs, it's like, something inspired from the dumbbell.
Okay.
Dumbbell. And then he said he used rhythmic music. So he kept the string. And actually there are many reels in social medias. You can see they are playing some tunes from that strings as well. So it was he wanted to infuse rhythm and the sportiness. So that's why the design
Ather 3 is like that, right?
Yes.
Have you driven the Seal? Have you sat in the
Not
Seal?
the Seal. I've driven the Ather 3.
You've driven the Ather 3,
Not the Seal yet. No.
What do you think of Ather 3?
I really like the technology in it. I think the simplistic, I think like Apple does, like less is more. I think that is there, but there's so much already. So I think it's a great car to drive. I really enjoyed it.
The new one looks nice as well. मलाई कालो चाहिँ एकदम मन पर्छ हैन.
Yes.
तर मेरो फेभरेट चाहिँ BYD को चाहिँ Seal हो किनभने the interior, man.
Yes.
कति पर्छ Seal को?
1.10 year.
Okay, and have you sold a few already?
Yes, we have sold few numbers still.
All right, good. No, good, really good. What next from BYD? हैन अब के आउँदैछ हैन यो बाइक र what other technology is coming? Anything you want to share?
Now we are working on the ecosystem, not only in the new product. The product we already sold here. The M6 is a new product. We are working to build the charge points, more charge points, Right now we have 33 charge points in Nepal. We are adding 20 very soon. And then to make it more convenient to the end customer, we are developing this charge point operation framework. So in one app, you can locate our charger. You can see if our charger is occupied or not. You can book the time slot for charging as well. You can pay it online. So this will help to people to commute with a peace of mind. So that is one part. And second is right now we have 15 workshop pan Nepal, and we are also thinking to add more workshop in where even though there is no showroom, but then we plan to add a workshop as a quick service workshop, so to give people more confidence, And then we recently in this NADA, I think, not NADA, but in this during the launch of Aether 3, we announced the BYD app as well. And now the app has made it more like the vehicle, more like your mobile phone gadget. So you can update, you can have more proximity with your vehicle. So we also want to keep on being updated with the BYD app as well. And then 2025, we are gearing for 1 or 2 new models, but then that still depends on how the things turn out with the government and all. So at the end of the day, what we are focusing with the BYD and the BYD customer base is the convenience, the comfort. That's our main focus target this year.
No, that's good, and I hope that gradually down the road, but this is me sitting in this chair saying that I hope the reliability aspect grows stronger and stronger over time when it comes to EV, and you've paved the way, and again, not saying because you are here, but the reliability aspect that Toyota has created over a span of 57 years, I hope that stays for the next 50 years, because 7 to 9 years.
We are long to actually. We are 28, 29-year-old company, but Toyota in Nepal is 57 years.
How old is Toyota in, when did Toyota start, Suryansh?
Right at the end of the 19th century. So they actually started operations in the early 1900s, if I'm not wrong.
Toyota started as something else,
Loom manufacturers.
Loom manufacturers,
And then they pivoted into creating their first model because in that time, basically, I think it's after the war actually, there was basically a lot of American influence in Japan. All the cars were only American. So a lot of Japanese people, like Honda, I think, and quite a few other manufacturers together only started at the same time, even in Japan.
And they wanted to do their own inbuilt thing.
Right.
Homegrown garna khojeko,
exactly.
if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
1995, what did Mr. Wong do before he started BYD?
He was a professor.
Teacher,
yeah. Yes, he was a teacher.
Very interesting. Well, someday he might venture into space too. Who knows?
It might. The BYD, because the overseas market demand is growing so high, they made their own ship. This Ro-Ro container vessels.
BYD is making vessels too. Era the
BYD Explorer 1. It's already selling.
Good for them. There you go. Chinese are going ahead and making things in the ocean too. Time lapse. Obviously. It's going to take a lot of time for us to go ahead and completely.
BYD on.
Man. They should give us one. We need our own ship. PM was talking about it. We need to have one BYD ship. God damn it. Let's get in the Calcutta port or get it. What's the other nearest port that we have? We have, I believe, what's the other nearest port that we have? China.
The nearest port is in Bangla, I think.
That's Bangladesh.
The one is Vizag, Visakhapatnam, and next one is Bangla. Chittagong.
Chittagong is the next one. Aether, and then other things that you're working on, Suryansh?
So I think looking at the future, I think because we just started, I just started. I think my vision for the mobility as a whole is try to reach as many people as possible. I think, like you were saying, I think focusing on the ecosystem when it comes to tech as well is something that we're trying to get into now. We want to, you look at the future of mobility, there's a lot of autonomous cars, autonomous driving, everything's going to be app-based. You want to go somewhere, you hail a autonomous driving car, it takes you somewhere. That's not what we're trying to do. But, I mean, it'll take some time to come to Nepal for sure. But I think on the lines of that, to try and, make movement easier in general is a goal of ours. We're getting into a little bit, just vaguely, it's a little bit into the rental thing as well when it comes to Aether. Leasing models are going to be coming very soon, which hasn't been done on a large scale here before. So I think that's something that we are launching very soon. Again, making ownership and just mobility a little bit more accessible to all is one aspect. Another aspect also when it comes to pit stop and, again, servicing of multi-brand vehicles is something that we definitely want to get into. Raising our expertise in electric mobility and alternate fuel mobility as well is just like, in the sense, like, gain the expertise. One thing that we're doing at Aether is we're actually starting like an institution where we train people how to work with two-wheeler BEVs. Because there's a huge ecosystem of second channel, third channel service or just mobility businesses where we want to train them and say, this is how you work with EVs. This is how you potentially work on more of the commonly changed parts and everything. We want to teach people how to do it. So firstly, for our consumer, it'll be easier to just go anywhere.
Yeah.
But also, once the BEV adoption happens, let's say over the next 10, 15 years, if our entire fleet becomes EV, they should also start preparing themselves. So instead of other people doing it, we want to take the lead and start that training. Whatever information we have, should start dispersing that knowledge to other people as well.
That's fantastic.
That's something, yeah.
Vaidya Energy, Vaidya organization to be precise, working on four-wheelers too, maybe acquiring something else? Working towards that? Can you share or no? Looking into it?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I think concentrating on Toyota, trying to see what we can do with sales. Again, instead of sales, I feel like it's a little bit difficult being in this, having only an ICE lineup. I think hybrid electric needs a little bit of a push in the country. I feel like having, again, a more diversified portfolio where you could, where you don't really require additional infrastructure and everything is something that we're trying to do. But we are trying to even get into, a couple of after-sales service things that would service the BEV industry as well. We do see a shortage.
Yeah.
I think there are a few players in the game who are actually doing, like you're saying, developing charging. But most are looking to, again, get the sales out first and then after sales later. So one thing that we're doing is also working on charging infrastructure. With Aether itself, we are planning maybe around 40 to 50 chargers in the next couple of months for two-wheelers. So yeah,
that's awesome. Next time you go to India, let me know. I'll tag along. Last time I couldn't.
I'll
tag along too. I want to understand more of what's 100%. Happening there. And the next time you go to Sanjay, just let me know.
Sure.
Haven't bloody been, man. Everybody saying, I want to see you.
The seeing will really help you to elevate your belief on the things like this, Aether, BYD. And also one great move by Aether, like, the training the manpower. It's not only for the nation, even like, we are exporting the manpower, right? So even in the global scale, when the BEV's adaptation will only keep on increasing, so they will also cater to that, the training the manpower. You are sending the rather semi-skilled or skilled manpower rather than the unskilled manpower.
Right towards the end, I want to thank both of you, not just for coming here, but for paving the way. Both of you are very young. See, I'm like an old dog here, layman, dumb, stupid here. But both of you are paving the way when it comes to bringing the technology. समय लगाएर के किनभने त्यो समय हो त्यो पैसा आफ्नो ठाउँमा छ हैन समय हो नि त आफू दुईजनाले समय दिएछ नि त यो देशमा चाहिँ हामीले बुझाउनु पर्छ है हैन कि इभी टेक्नोलोजी इज भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट दाम भने त कमाइन्छ त्यो आफ्नो ठाउँमा छ हैन काम गरेपछि दाम कमाइन्छ तर त्यो मान्छेलाई बुझाएर कि टु व्हीलर्समा इभी यहाँसम्म हामी जान सक्छौँ दिज आर द टेक्नोलोजिज द्याट्स कमिङ इन द वर्ल्ड हुन्छ नि हैन एन्ड दिस इज वाट समथिङ द्याट वी निड टु ह्याभ फर आवर नेसन एज वेल with BYD, with the EV technology, that you've paved the way. Your numbers, I threw out numbers like it was like something that हुन्छ नि होइन ल भनेर होइन बट त्यो गर्नलाई कति गाह्रो भएको छ त्यो म बुझ्छु कि होइन त्यो 2011देखिको त्यो स्ट्रगल हो 57 years होइन त्यो आजको कुरा हो त्यो होइन सो थ्याङ्क यू सो मच फर पेभिङ द वे नट जस्ट सेङ बिकज यु सिटिङ इन माई टेबल बट थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच फर पेभिङ द वे फर द नेक्स्ट जेनेरेसन एन्ड आई होप द्याट वेयर आर वाचिङ हुन्छ नि होइन वर्क टुवर्ड्स making sure that they are going to be paving the way. Okay? Bring more technologies, guys. Mata, that's the only thing that I'm going to say. Whatever technology, that Chinese flying drones, bring all that. Okay? It's going to be so fun to see all those.
It'll be interesting for sure.
Bring all those things, man. And everybody's going to tell you, but when you succeed, everybody is going to say, Hera utile garera dekhayo bhanera. But till the time you're not going to succeed, everybody's going to be saying that shit is not going to work.
Yeah. And I'm so much, I don't really believe that, okay, I have paved the way in entire way. Contribution sabaiको आफ्नो ठाउँमा छ होला. But then, I don't know what, there are many conjectures of things that we are in this position here, so stroke of luck होला, right product support, right strategies होला. But then I'm really grateful for what I have learned. That is the key part. The learning was most important for me. And like you said, inspiring the future generation, I really hope that the people right now who are in the university, who are in the students, who are in their schools, that what I would have done, if I go back to that era with this current knowledge, with current experience, then I would really ask them that, do not fall into the fallacy of, okay, kaseko aile, they have a good family status, they have a good social status in relations and all. So it's easy at that age to get into that fallacy. Okay, त्यसमा चाहिँ usko compared to usko batchmates haruमा usko यो राम्रो छ usko यो राम्रो छ. Uni पछि abroad गइरहेछ अथवा he is going into family business अथवा he is going this career. No, what really matters at that age, at that time, is the skills. It really matters. Any skills, maybe it could be as simple as having Excel skills. It could be as simple as having a writing skills. It could be as simple as learning new language. So that's what really matters. Rather falling to the fallacies of त्यति बेलाको timeline, you want to be more socialized. You think of more about, oh, मेरो साथीले त यस्तो गरिरहेछ त्यस्तो गरिरहेछ भन्दाखेरि. So I would want more of that if I went back to the time. So that's what I always inspire the अरू अहिलेको जेनेरेसनहरूलाई चाहिँ.
That's perfect, and I know both of you guys work way hard. हुन्छ नि त्यो कहिले काहीँ सोशल मिडियामा हेर्दाखेरि मात्रै you guys are having fun, but I know the amount of work that both of you guys are putting into your businesses, होइन, and putting into yourself as well. So thank you so much for doing all this. I want to end with a scene. के मैले अघि नै आफूले भन्दा I thought of this scene, one of my favorite car scene, होइन. Hey, Google this, and this is something that's probably going to happen in the future. Pierce Brosnan, GoldenEye. Invisible car. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen this ever?
No.
This is one of my two when we were looking
Arctic scene.
In the Arctic scene, होइन. के गर्छ थाहा छ उसले मोबाइल फोनबाट होइन गाडी बोलाउँछ के होइन. And the car is bloody invisible car. Okay? It's one of my favorite. I am a big James Bond fanatic. होइन. It's a Aston Martin. होइन. Such a beautiful car, but it's invisible.
Yeah. That's a great scene.
And I think that's going to be the future. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure it already is.
Just like you can do that. Can you do that VID?
No.
To app or a milsa?
I think certain portions in it's getting there.
The car is going to move forward and backwards?
Yes.
It's getting there.
BYD?
It's getting there. So Tesla is more now into this FSD full self driving. Now they are even developing the Optimus part. So you are now the future of mobility. So your car is, you just went to office, your car is in parking lot, there will Optimus part driving that car for a rental or Uber or something like that.
Yes.
That's happening.
So that's going to be the future of mobility.
So my car is going to make me money all day?
Yes.
Exactly.
Optimus.
This is the scene, होइन?
Yeah.
This is the scene. Okay? उसले त्यो मोबाइलबाट गर्छ. मोबाइलै थिएन नि त्यतिखेर बेचारा.
That's the DB9, I think.
I don't know which.
Before that.
You know which one that is, right?
Yeah, I think it's the DB9. Yeah.
Imagine, हुन्छ नि होइन, ऊ सट्ट छिर्छ के अरे होइन. Oh, yes! Oh, the khatra se villain pani haina? God, that's like the Japanese car. All the fancy gadgets they have, no, you know? And then, yeah, this is the funny thing. Okay. That's how he figures out that the bloody car is like fucked on it, okay? But I think the other one's a Jaguar, no? This one, they go ahead and fight it off.
Thermal imaging.
Yeah, that is the
Jaguar.
Jaguar, ne? And then they go ahead and do it. Yeah, this is like an iconic. I think now the car, now everybody can see which car that is, right? Oh my God. Camouflage is over, right? This is what we need. You need to tell BYD guys, this is what we need. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Come again. Suryansh, thanks for coming in. Come again, sir.
Thank you.
Vyas Media Network.